Some of the content of Patriots Unfiltered may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
The world's original podcast.
Welcome to Patriots Unfiltered.
I've wanted Mike Vrabel to be the successor to Bill Belichick for a while now. So
You're clingy.
Yeah, I'm a little clingy. Paul was going to introduce him to me once, but he didn't make it happen. I was pretty upset about it. There's also just something appealing about let's get a fresher breath air, a breath of breath. What did I say? A breath of fresh air.
Steve Sarkisian. Wow. I don't want that. I don't want that. That's, to me, that's not working.
But they went to the playoffs.
If that's working well, then I'm not. But don't count me in.
Well. You've won 8 games the last 2 years.
If he's going to point to that style as it worked pretty well, then I'm not on board. I'm not on board.
Don't be angry.
Okay.
That was Mike and Fred's first argument.
It was, and it was beautiful.
You can have those arguments and then move on.
Yeah, it's like Lincoln's cabinet, team of rivals. He hired a lot of people that ran against him. He wanted people with opposing viewpoints. Sorry, I'm reading a Civil War book right now.
He's really
Holy cross.
Those pillows are ridiculous, especially when they're on a bed. You make the bed, you got to put the pillows. Get in the bed, you got to take the pillows off.
They're show pillows, Fred.
It's like, are we doing tours of the house? Like, why is this important?
Yeah.
Does she get cold?
Yeah, she's walking around with a blanket all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
You won't let her put the heat up?
This is Patriots Unfiltered.
Presented by Toyota's official website for deals, buyatoyota.com.
All right, welcome to Patriots Unfiltered. It is Thursday here at Gillette Stadium, and the head coaching watch continues for the New England Patriots. A lot of news out there. Mike Vrabel, it seems to be the consensus front runner for the New England Patriots. However, they do have a scheduled call supposedly tomorrow with Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn. I don't know if there's others besides those two, but we shall see what happens. But just everybody in the know, and I'm not talking about the local people, the national people, all seem to think that it's Vrabel or bust for the team.
Yeah. Kind of sounds that way.
Yeah. So that's where we are. And as far as the rest of the staff, it's just wait and see, I guess, in terms of whoever comes in, what they're going to want.
Yeah. You feel for those guys right now, kind of in limbo.
Yeah.
So there was a ESPN.com, I think, Dan Graziano and Jeremy Fowler today, sort of tag team effort on all the teams with coaching vacancies, and Fowler, like a lot of other people, has added Josh McDaniels to the Vrabel ticket.
Yeah.
Vrabel McDaniels as a package deal.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. Everything is about Drake Maye and his style of play and his ceiling. And the closest I've seen Josh McDaniels try to do something like that is maybe when he drafted Tim Tebow, because I assume the plan there in Denver was to use him, to use his legs as well.
Yeah.
But he's not as mobile as a Drake Maye, and I don't think. I don't know.
Little Cam Newton in 2020. I mean, I remember that Miami game where they busted out some.
Yeah, but that was the
QB
ghost of
stuff.
Cam Newton.
But Cam Newton is the best comp in terms of proof of concept that McDaniels could run an offense with a dual threat quarterback. There was a lot of really good run design elements in that offense in 2020. They were a top 10 rushing offense, even with their struggles in the passing game in 2020. So he's always had a good run game, Josh. He's always been able to scheme it up in the run game. And if you want to sell yourself on it, is like a combination of the Cam Newton 2020 year with what he's done historically with Brady and Mac Jones.
I got a couple thoughts. Like I like the fact that maybe they get back to more power running, and maybe his scheme fits the personnel that they still have here. But I just wonder about, like we talked about, with Drake and working with him, and putting a lot more on Drake. How does that look? Maybe it'll be great for him. Maybe it'll be challenging. I don't know, but it'll definitely be different.
To me, the problem with the whole power running is you're either all in or you're not. You have to constantly keep hitting them and wear them down. Today's NFL, it's more subtlety. It's more keeping defenses on their heels. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, I could see both sides.
Yeah, I mean, I could. Listen, I don't profess to be Evan or any offensive coordinator.
No, and nor do I.
But I'm looking at what's working today.
And I would just look, the Cam Newton thing. Like, Cam Newton was sort of a different kind of a runner as a quarterback. He was like a power runner.
More like Josh Allen a little bit, right?
Yeah, and even more so than him. I don't think that they're going to ask Drake Maye to run the ball like that on a regular basis. Where we're going to just it's 3rd and 3. We're going to make sure we're not going to try to trick anybody and get the edge on a zone read or something like that. We're just going to ask him to line up in the shotgun, take the snap, and go forward. In power football. That's what they did with Cam Newton.
But there was also like an element in that Miami game, the first one, where it was the same thing, like read option on the goal line, like that's the stuff I want.
And then we never saw it again.
But I think Maye can do that without question. Yeah. We saw it in the summer. We saw it a little bit, in bits and pieces. I think that will be a bigger part of the offense moving forward with him, with his legs. Absolutely.
It has to be. It has to be, because that's how you leverage his talent against the defense to create issues on the defensive side of the ball, is when he is a constant threat to run.
Right.
Constant. And that's what Josh Allen is in Buffalo with Joe Brady, is that at any given time they could call a play and Josh Allen could get out on the perimeter and throw. He can run. He can do all these different types of things. I'm with you. I don't want him to run like Cam Newton was running and run 10, 15 times a game, but it has to be in the back of the defense's mind every single time.
But I would have to keep them on their heels. You can't be easy to defend.
But even if it's a smaller number than Cam Newton, the style. Do you remember how many times 3rd and 4th and 1, it was just shotgun, just snap the ball to Cam, and he's going to look for a second, that little jump step, and then he's just going to plow ahead. You remember the one time that really stood out that they failed doing that was at the goal line against Seattle early in the season, when they had a chance to steal that game. I don't like the idea of, I know they won't do it. Like Drake Maye.
Help them.
All right, you don't need a full day. You're just going to pick your hole and plow through a defensive tackle. No.
Yeah. I love that idea.
I don't like that with him.
So if Josh comes, do we bring back the fullback?
Probably.
That's what Evan said that on Tuesday.
He's always had one, so I would imagine that you would. But I don't know. I'm not saying that you have to do that with Drake all the time. But if you're getting where you hope you're getting, which is to playoff games and meaningful late season games and things like that, if your best chance of picking up a yard on 3rd or 4th and 1 is a quarterback draw with Drake Maye, I'm quarterback drawing with Drake Maye.
I think I'm thinking of plays that are different than quarterback draws. Quarterback draw, you're hoping to fool people and part the seas and go through big holes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cam Newton wasn't trying to fool anybody. He was trying to knock people over.
They would run a lot of QB power and things like that with Cam, where they would motion the back out of the backfield to lighten the box, and they get a 5-man box against 5 blockers, and then he's the 6th guy, so he would just pick a spot and.
It's a numbers game, Mike.
Yeah,
it's a numbers game.
But I like what Evan's saying, though. I think it's about just putting the fear of that into defenses and not having to make it an engine of the offense, but having it as part of the bag and just letting, like you said, defenses know at any moment you might bust it out.
And I know it was, kind of a meaningless situation, but the end of the Buffalo game, the first Buffalo game in Buffalo, they're down 24-14. I think it was like a 4th and 4 or something like that.
Wind was about 5 miles to the east.
Yeah. don't do that.
Well,
it's untold.
I'm just promoting your recall.
You're already trying to make me go back on my resolution. Anyway, they give the little, the fake handoff, zone read. It catches everybody. Drake Maye gets an easy first down around the end. He scoots out of bounds. Like, I want to use his legs. It's a weapon. He's a great runner. He's a great athlete. I don't necessarily want him doing what Josh Allen does. And, jumping over and it's clear that he's not going to slide.
Yeah, I know.
He's going to invite contact. Yeah. I don't want that all the time because I don't think he's going to be as durable doing it. We've seen it already. He played 12 games. He got knocked out of a couple of them.
Yeah. Going back to McDaniels, an argument on the plus side for him is, from what I hear, he has no designs to be a head coach. So he'll be here for a while anyway. So, that's the fear you have when you do bring in, the next hot coordinator. That guy becomes the next hot head coach candidate.
What an opportunity for Josh McDaniels, though. Just from solely his perspective, to be able to come back here where he, is living already. So he's already, and just to settle in and get back into the NFL and to have a young piece of clay to work with that can do it all. And to really, I think Josh McDaniels will really cement his place here in Patriots history if he can come back and do what we all want him to do. Get, Drake Maye to that next level to, and it shows that he had a part, like we talked about him and having a part in Brady's development and all 07 and all that stuff. Like, have a hand in this again. And maybe you're not like one eye looking at other opportunities, but you can just focus on this. Drake Maye, make him the man, really install a new system. What have you learned over the last couple of years? What new steps can you take forward? I mean, I think it would be really exciting for Josh.
No one would deny then he's one of the best OCs.
I don't know.
In this
it could be like the Steve
decades.
Spagnuolo of the offensive side of the
Yeah.
ball. Like, look, it didn't work out as a head coach, but he's able to put it.
Well, on the other side, Tommy Rees is the name that we should all know on the young, hot offensive coordinator side of things. He's 32 years old. If he comes here and it works, in 2 years he's going to be a head coach.
Exactly.
Right. He's going to be the next Ben Johnson.
Yeah.
Like
So in that case, it's what we talked about on Tuesday. You got to make sure that you're creating that internal pipeline.
Yeah.
That someone is learning while he's the coach. So if he does move on, you can easily fill that slot. But that's easier said than done.
No, it's good way of
Yeah.
looking at it. There's two different ways. I mean,
Yeah.
you have the stability. I mean, I don't know. I'd like to just have the guy who I think is the best.
Yep.
I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah.
Right.
I leave that to you experts.
Yeah. Sure.
Well, it's just hard because it's Ben Johnson on one hand, you think like you have continuity in the offensive side of the ball, but where this Patriots organization is right now, are they ready to? Is this the right time to try to take that swing? And I know he's different than Mayo, but this organization, and we can talk about the Callahan Herald piece from Doug Kyde, like. I mean, it's all over the place right now. I mean, there's just no structure at all in any avenue of the football operation here right now.
It's a good point, Mike.
Look, I'd be excited about Ben Johnson, somebody new, and what he would bring to the offense. But at the same time, I really think, throwing out my Mike Vrabel fandom, that if you need to get this house back in order, Mike Vrabel seems like a pretty good choice to be able to do that. And maybe he will tap out. I know you guys have
we need
some
somebody to
concerns.
land the plane.
Right, and get restructure things and bring and not have the shadow of Bill Belichick hanging over them, or still having staff members who might still have some loyalties to Bill, or might be their son. It's a fresh break, and it's a new start.
No, it's a good point, and I think if you do hire somebody like Ben Johnson, then a really powerful executive is even more important. Somebody that can come in here and be John Lynch, or come in here and be a football czar, because you want to let Ben Johnson cook. Like, you want to put him in the lab and let him worry about game plans and play design and all that kind of stuff. You don't want him having to worry about, I don't know, building out the practice facility in the parking lot.
No, fair.
Like, that's not why you're hiring him. Whereas I think if you hire a guy like Mike Vrabel, he can be all encompassing and be that CEO and help you get the football program side of it pointed in the right direction.
Well, because he's going to hire hopefully strong coordinators.
Right. So if you're hiring Ben Johnson, then I would be pretty upset if it didn't come with a really powerful front office executive that's experienced and has been around the block doing that sort of thing.
Do we know of any, Ben Johnson has the people he works with in Detroit, but what does his network do beyond that? Like, would he have a GM that he'd want to bring in, or coordinators?
Ray Agnew is the name that gets thrown out a lot as in terms of the personnel guy that he wants to work with, but I wouldn't call him a John Lynch type, right? Like, he's more of like a front office scout. He's going to scout personnel and things like that. So I don't know who the czar would be that they could come up with.
Is he the assistant in Detroit now?
Yeah, and so he's more in the mold of like a true scout, not somebody that had played or had all this experience in the NFL before this.
Yeah.
Such a cool name, Czar. Like, wouldn't you like to be the czar of something? And that sounds pretty intimidating.
CZAR or TSAR? Which one would you like?
I'm getting into Russian history there. CZ.
CZ? CZ? Okay.
Czar of content.
Yeah, but I like Mike's point, because I do think getting the ship back in order is important, and I'm pretty sure that Vrabel can do that. Whereas I'm not telling you that Ben Johnson can't, but that's less of a certainty. That wouldn't be the reason that I didn't do it, but I'd have to have some confidence that Ben Johnson can have that kind of a whole.
Yeah.
The whole offensive coordinator thing, that's a tough one to me, because I think the argument that if you could have a great offensive coordinator but not be guaranteed that he's going to be here beyond, say, 2 years, or have a good offensive coordinator that you have pretty confident he'll be here for at least 5? Which one would you take?
I think the great.
Yeah, me too.
Just to get Maye on the right track.
Me too.
The 2, you mean the 2 years?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like if I could have Ben
Great for
Johnson,
2
like
rather
if
than
I
great
have,
for
if
five.
I could have
That's-
Ben Johnson right now, let's just say for argument's sake, he's had it with Detroit, but no one wants him to be the head coach. So a fantasy hypothetical, something Fred would be involved with. So Ben Johnson or Josh McDaniels. Ben Johnson, who arguably the best offensive coordinator in football right now for 2 years max, probably only 1. Or
Well,
Josh
if
McDaniels,
you're telling
who's
me
going to
only
stay.
1, I might think twice again.
I'll take the better.
Even the
coordinator.
1?
Yeah.
No, I need him for at least 2 years.
All right, so 2 years.
2 years.
As
But I
long
mean,
as-
think
as long
about
as
that
you're
1
playing
year. I mean, I guess
fake
it's a,
football.
Right.
It's a bad example for 1 because it's just he's already left over once to go. But if it was just random Joe Schmo, the offensive coordinator that you hire, and he has a great 2 years, I mean, what do those 2 years look like? That he's getting head coach opportunities after 2 years? I mean, Drake
Right.
Maye is a top 5 quarterback. This offense is in the top 5 of the
Right.
league. Like, and then you'll figure it out at that point.
I want to make sure it's fair because I don't want to have Josh McDaniels is just there and he's terrible. No,
right,
he's
no.
good. He's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
not great.
Well, that'd be the hope. I mean, I don't know if I would, pound the table for Josh McDaniels to be the guy, but I would just hope that.
It's gonna be old home week for us,
well,
Mike. We got all our
I
guys
know,
coming
well,
back.
But we had a little talk, some small talk with
We
him
did.
when we shot our thing, and
We
it's
did.
it's clear he still has the itch.
But think
and-
about forget about the fans. We will be pissed off if Drake Maye isn't given the right support to become as good as he can be.
coaches.
So what's going to be
players.
the determinant of that?
That he's good.
You'll know.
That's where it's not fair.
I know.
Do you know what I mean?
Like, is it him?
Like
or
a
the
lot.
Right.
I mean, there's still a pretty good
We'll know it.
separation.
We know it.
Yeah,
Like
we
this-
know. We
difference.
all
But don't you
knowers.
think there's a pretty good separation of opinion with regard to where it all went wrong with Mac Jones? I think there's a lot of people that think you did him wrong. The lack of structure around him, the Matt Patricia, Joe Judge derailed his promising career. And a lot of other people on my side say, no, he never really
Well,
had all that much
I-
talent to begin with.
from what I
Doesn't mean I'm right. Doesn't mean they're right.
I think
There's a difference of opinion.
I kind of agree with both. I think that he was done wrong, but I don't think he was ever going to be that good anyway.
I kind of agree with you.
yeah.
The thing we can't know is what would it have looked like in year 2 with Josh and Mac. if
But
they
I'm
had
just
stayed
saying,
together.
regardless of who the offensive coordinator comes in, if Drake Maye doesn't work out, are we going to blame that on the offensive coordinator? That's kind of what it sounds like,
yeah.
yeah.
And I'd like to see him play and see,
Yeah.
whose fault it is.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we saw what he did under AVP, and we liked it. So it has to look better than that, right? We have to see. We have a baseline here of, hey, he showed us some stuff in year 1 that we have hope.
Do you know
So-
what I'm kind of getting at?
with Mac.
No, with Drake May.
So year 2, what
I
I'm
agree
saying
with
is-
you. I
so
agree with everything
year
you're
2
saying.
has to look better than year
Cut down on the turnovers.
But I think it's in the eye of the beholder, and I don't think this is like a black and white
It's in
thing.
my eyes.
Well, it's a
But-
nature
but in
versus
other words,
nurture
I'm the
argument,
beholder.
right?
I am the beholder.
I totally agree with you. But
Yeah.
he could play. I think right now, you look at the same exact game, and you look and say, "Wow, that's pretty good. He's got some raw ability." Right. Let's take those 2 picks that he threw. Let's put those over here to the side. Rookie. He's played 10, 11, 12 games. He can play the same, and you might not look at it the same. That's why I say it's in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah, well, if he has the
And-
picks next year, then I'm not happy with
Well,
that.
But
Depends
you're
on what's
probably
around
going to
him,
blame it
though.
on the offensive coordinator.
No,
That's,
not
I don't
picks.
mean you individually.
Yeah.
I mean a lot of people.
But it
Some
does
people
depend. It does depend on what's around him. Like this year, he's got the worst offensive line in football. I think you can make an argument that he had the worst weapons in football on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, could you make the case that a lot of his turnovers were from him pressing to try to make plays that the guys on the other end couldn't make?
I would
right?
say the Miami game would be a really good example of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
The game at Miami.
Yeah, I mean, or even the pick against the one in the red zone. I think it was against the Chargers, right? Where he tried to throw the corner route and the 2 receivers collided, and then and there was nobody that ended up there.
But let's play the game. Let's say year 2, everything's the same. Gerard Mayo's still the head coach. AVP's still the coordinator, and the talent around him, including the offensive line, is similar to what year 1 was. I would still expect Drake Maye to look better.
I would too.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
I
kinda
would
and
too.
if he doesn't,
Maybe.
then
year 2.
I don't know. I think it's hard because I think
It is hard,
a
but-
lot of these, a lot of guys in the similar mold have had similar ups and downs or peaks and valleys, like Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence has got a lot of raw talent. You can clearly see that Trevor Lawrence is a talented, capable, franchise quarterback, but the Jaguars are a dumpster fire and have been his entire career. So, is it Trevor Lawrence is the problem or is the Jaguars the problem?
And it's hard to imagine guys that have none of the elements. So you say Joe Burrow, he was able to show you right away that he was good with not a tremendous amount around him, but then, so he didn't have a lot of pass protection, but he had T. Higgins, and then year 2 he gets Jamar Chase and T. Higgins.
Right.
So at least he has elite weapons now, and you can start to see how good he can be. To Evan's point, Drake really has nothing.
No, he's got nothing. Yeah.
He's got nothing. If they go into year 2 and they have, Cam Robinson or Kelvin Banks playing left tackle and T. Higgins is on the outside and he's still throwing picks and he's still having these ups and downs, then we start to be concerned about Drake. I think it's
blame it on the offensive coordinator.
right now. I think there's one person to point it at, and it's at Elliott Wolf or whoever's in charge in that seat to pick the personnel. They have to make it easier on the quarterback. There's too much on him right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Deuce, you mentioned in passing the article in the Herald today about the dysfunction in the organization from the top down, it seemed. And, a lot of it was stuff that went on this season with Gerard Mayo. What was the thing that you most took out of that article?
Cool.
I know I have mine.
Yeah, my overall thought, which I shared with the guys, was just I felt like a shooting circle, everyone's shooting at each other in a circle and blaming and pointing fingers at everyone else. But I'll let Paul talk about the one part that stood out the most to me because I thought immediately
go ahead.
Paul was just that that they said Gerard was very, very, very excited about that win in Cincinnati, and I think Paul led the way, but we all had that conversation after that win of man, Ramondre was breaking tackles in the backfield. They're getting the breaks. They're getting random, interceptions or whatever, fumbles in the red zone. There was a lot of stuff went their way, and I think we were all clear that this is not sustainable, how they're going to win it. So, otherwise, just a lot of, pointing to Gerard's inexperience, not a clear vision, but also plenty of pointing at the players and the lack of development, the lack of talent. Everything we talked about. It's just, it's everybody shooting at everybody else. That's why I when I said the thing about Vrabel, it's you need someone to come in and clear the slate and clear the deck. And I don't know if that means all the personnel. I know some people here would say yes, but they got to get a whole new program in place here. That's my main takeaway.
Yeah, that takeaway, the reaction after the Cincinnati game where whoever the player was said, he's bouncing off walls after a win, and it's like someone shot his dog after a loss, and that they're not even sure that he watched the tape from that game, because the other coaches are watching the tape. He's like, oh, boy, we got lucky.
Yeah.
And here's why. Yeah. And they're not even sure that he did that, and they contrasted it with Belichick, and I know, we're comparing him with the greatest coach ever, but Belichick, even after a great win, would do the low-light tapes.
Yeah.
Here's the things that we need to get better, and if we keep doing these things, we're not going to have wins like this for long.
Yeah.
And a lot of players don't like that these days, but you have to, in my opinion, you have to do that. You have to do that. And then I was reading an article about Vrabel. I think it was Logan Ryan was saying it. I'm not sure.
Karen Gregan,
but he did the same thing in Tennessee.
Yeah.
To his credit at Tennessee, and I think Brian Hoyer said it, some of the leaders on the team were okay with that. And so if your leaders are okay with being called out in meetings and all that, and then the younger guys will follow suit.
Yeah.
But I think this year, with the captains being hurt and all
that was another part
Mayo,
of it for me.
Mayo didn't have that leadership.
I think
in the
that was
room.
an underrated
secondary guys
underrated
stepping into
problem.
leadership roles that maybe weren't ready for it. And
But you can't be on that roller coaster if you're a head coach. You can't be too high and you can't be too low. You got to be steady throughout, because everything you do trickles down to the rest of the team.
We saw that with him. We pointed it out in real time that after the Cincinnati win, the Monday morning Zoom call that he had with reporters, my goodness, was he on cloud nine? And I get it. It was an exciting win for him. His first win in the NFL as a head coach. I totally get it, but you could feel that in real time.
Pete Carroll did the same thing.
Yeah.
Pete Carroll did the same thing. Comes here, starts off 0-4 or 0-5. I mean 5-0. Remember? 5-0 in the NFL. It's getting late in the evening. He's like singing and dancing at the podium, and
Like
it's
James Brown said, it's getting late in the evening.
You gotta be, let the players celebrate.
That's what he said.
Let the players celebrate Sunday night, but Monday.
My first year, I was like, what am I doing?
Yeah, Monday we're on to the next opponent.
We're on to
and
Cincinnati.
we don't have time.
Right. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
the stories from Builder in the 07 season when they went 16-0, and he's just like tearing them how it's not good enough. And I mean, we went. That was probably our discussion on that Tuesday show after that Bengals game, was just going through like, I don't know, man, that wasn't good. That was, I mean, it was nice to win, but you could see the cracks.
Yeah, and I would say that, and there was a story in The Athletic with Chad Graff on the day before, Wednesday, that, was kind of, similar vein, different anecdotes. I didn't think there was really anything that was all that surprising to read and hear. And this stuff typically happens when it doesn't go well. You have a bad season, you make a coaching change, and people are going to sort of line up. I did think that my one takeaway from both of the stories that I thought was interesting was the amount of people, because I assume that there's a lot of anonymous players involved in these quotes.
Yes, for sure.
The amount of times that someone said our roster was among, if not the worst, among the worst in the league. And I always assume that players are involved in these, anonymous quotes. So I thought that was sort of telling that it wasn't just pointing fingers at the lack of organization, the lack of structure, the lack of discipline.
Teammates.
It's like they all
Right.
knew we also weren't good enough.
Yeah.
It's got to come from the veterans too, the guys who have been around, who have been on talented teams. It's not, coming from Jalen Polk telling you we're not talented enough.
One of the, it just sort of like you don't know what you don't know. Like that anecdote that was in the Herald one about Javon Baker, who we all kind of thought that something probably happened in London,
Right.
off the field, and they said indeed that was the case. He was like he missed curfew or something. He got back
I didn't
late.
really understand
And he's
exactly
sort of like,
what
He
that
was trying to get back on
what does that
time.
mean?
But he thought that was meant to. Why are you benching me? I tried to be here
I
on
tried to
time.
be here.
Like
Oh my
just like
God.
you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, right.
That to me illustrated the younger problem. You're right, Fred. Like the quotes from the people who say we weren't good enough. Those are probably veterans who are good enough.
Right, like Jonathan
And this
Jones, Godshaw,
right.
like the older guys who've been around
Right.
a little bit.
Yeah, there was one quote in there that the Herald piece where they said Mayo kept on referencing a North Star, but then couldn't
No one knew what it meant.
describe
What is
What
it?
is
that
the North
is.
Star?
What is it?
Right, and that to me summed it up perfectly. I was like, here's a guy that just really didn't have a vision and couldn't, maybe he did have a vision, but he couldn't articulate that vision to the people below him. And so everybody, he was just talking in these, like,
Corporate leadership terms.
yeah,
To
yeah.
say it's corporate mumbo jumbo as opposed to practical leadership.
Right, like
real
we're all
hands-on.
trying to point towards the North Star. Well, what's the North Star, Gerard? It's the North Star, like right
Well,
there.
I think everyone's supposed to have their own North Star. What guides you,
But shouldn't you have a shared vision of where you
Yeah,
want to be?
I
Do you
guess.
think that there was any ambiguity as to
How about
what the
winning?
goal? Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
How about winning?
What the
Right,
goal was
right.
when Tom Brady was the
Yeah, we
quarterback?
wanna win
We're going to
football
win
games.
Super Bowls.
Right.
Like that's our goal. That's the North Star.
Right.
And like here, I'm not really sure everybody knew exactly what their goal was.
Right. And there's no shortcuts to that. All right. 855-PATS-500 is the TPX hotline. Podcasts at patriots.com is the email address. We need to hurry because even though the Patriots season is done, the picks must go on. So later on, we'll be doing our wild card weekend picks.
Yeah. Special guest Alex will join us.
Saturday and Sunday. And then tonight and tomorrow, we have the college playoffs. So that's pretty cool.
I'm excited
Should we
about
pick those games too?
I got some heavy thoughts on those, so I'd love to pick them.
yeah, I was gonna say
Let's pick those games.
we can pick them, but
Just for fun.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
Let's pick those games too.
What do we got
Yeah.
tonight? Who we got tonight?
yeah, maybe I'll give you some draft prospects to watch.
Notre Dame.
Penn State,
Penn
Notre
State,
Dame.
Notre
Penn State,
Dame.
Notre Dame.
I don't know if Abdul Carter's gonna play because he got hurt in the quarterfinal.
Yeah.
Right.
And that was a bummer because I was watching the quarterfinal game when he got hurt, and I was like, I don't need to watch this anymore.
He's got the,
I'm
he's
gonna
got the
shut this
juice.
off.
He's got
Yeah,
the juice.
he's a good player.
Oh, you got
Hopefully
that
plays.
tight end from Penn State. He's pretty good.
He doesn't move me.
Really?
He's
Tyler,
good.
Tyler Warren.
He's good.
It's a good tight end class.
It is.
Yeah.
The
It
kid
is.
from Vanderbilt I really liked.
Yep.
There's a kid from Bowling Green who
Yeah, I
I
was
think
gonna say the
actually
Bowling
got
Green
the
kid.
award.
Yep. The
Um,
Mackey Award.
Mackey.
Yeah, who I only saw him play once though. I don't know as much about him.
Yeah.
But the
No,
kid from
there's good-
Vanderbilt I've seen a few times. He's pretty good.
Yeah, there's good tight ends.
All right, let's get to the phone calls, the TPX hotline. We'll start in Pennsylvania. Ryan, what's up, Ryan?
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Good.
Hey.
Hey, I got two questions for you. The first one's hypothetical. I know Paul loves these.
I do.
So, would you rather run it back with the same regime? Mayo's your coach, AVP, Covington, or would you rather have Vrabel as your head coach and not Patricia as your OC?
Probably B.
Wait, that's your OC?
B for
Why
me.
are those the
OC.
options?
Yeah, no,
Yeah, I
it's
knew
a
someone could
hypothetical.
say that.
It's a thought
I
experiment.
would go with
Evan.
B. You need the leadership.
Okay. Fred, I know you still are thankful for Matt Patricia doing his best. But
I am. We owe him a thanks.
Okay.
Yep. Proud of him.
And my second question is sort of off topic here. There's been a video circulating of, I think it's Jared Goff, Lions playing Seattle, where he does a fake handoff, and he fakes the handoff, or he hands it off, sorry. He hands it off and fakes that he's still passing, and he fakes so well that he gets smeared. He gets sacked big time, and they throw the roughing the passer flag. I just wanted you guys' opinion on that. If you're faking that you still have the ball, I don't think that should be a 15-yard penalty. When you fake the handoff and the running back gets hit, there's no penalty for that. So what do you guys' thoughts?
I'd need to
Oh,
see.
that's a
I'd need
good-
to see the hit.
So, in
I
other words-
agree. Yeah, I agree with his premise.
Yeah, I do too.
If he just followed out a fake and it was a routine hit, and they only penalized him because he hit the quarterback, I agree with him.
Yeah.
But
Right,
my guess is
exactly.
that the hit was
Yeah,
different.
I think it depends
Well,
on how
he
many
hit some
steps is
blindside.
taken. What?
He hits him blindside. Goff
But
has
how
the
much
background.
after the fake?
Well, I would say it's second and a half, 2 seconds, something like that. He sells it well. I mean, what I'm wondering is, as linebackers or edge rushers, do we have to walk around the other side of the quarterback to make sure they still have the ball first before we hit?
No,
them?
it's a
No,
good
but
point.
you should. Yes, the answer to that is yes. You should know if the quarterback is throwing the ball. That's part of roughing the passer. You can't hit him late. That's
I
part of
think
it.
it's
Now,
hard enough.
on the surface, the way you're describing it, I agree with you. Like, it sounds like he just had a
Yeah.
good fake, and the guy didn't realize he didn't have the ball.
The reason it looks so egregious, is because the defensive player then goes and starts celebrating while the play is still developing behind him because he thinks he got the sack.
Yeah. So that's what I'm
It's
saying.
just-
On the surface, I agree with you. Shouldn't be a penalty.
Well, thanks
Yeah,
for
I
the
just
call,
think it's
Ryan.
part-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for.
I'll look for that. We should look for that
No,
play.
so like
email it in.
So like in an option.
Yeah,
run.
email the clip to Matt, and maybe he can play it.
So like in an option run, sometimes you see the quarterback kind of follow the running back.
Right.
The mesh.
Right.
If
the
someone
mesh.
and if
Yes.
someone comes in and tackles the quarterback, that's not a penalty.
I don't think it should be.
It's not.
Yeah.
I've seen it happen.
Yeah.
Maybe it was helmet to helmet, or
That's
leading
why I
with
said
the
I need to see
head,
the
or-
hit.
Too hard.
Yeah, hit too
You know,
hard.
did he-
Body weight foul.
I was going to say, did he land on him? Did he burp him?
Yeah.
And I've
Big
heard
burn.
coaches say, listen, if they're going to run that, make the quarterback pay.
Yeah.
Like treat him like a runner. That's what they want you to think, that he's a runner.
That goes back to, I know it's a much different game now, but
Kill the head.
for how
Aim high.
for how long do you say, well, you can't run a triple option in the NFL because you can't expose your quarterback to that amount of hits.
Right.
In the old college game, the old Big 8 days with Oklahoma and Nebraska,
Yeah,
they
everybody's getting hit.
they're running triple option. They go through 3 quarterbacks because they're getting killed every
Yeah,
week.
yeah.
Even when they didn't run the ball.
It's like Eric Crouch.
Yeah.
in those days.
Scott Frost,
Yeah, Scott Frost.
Calvin's in Florida. Hey, Calvin.
Jamel Holloway from Oklahoma.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Hey,
Good.
You
I
know
just had
these
a quick
guys. Don't shake
question.
your head.
So, in my opinion, I feel like we should target Tetro McMillan with the number 4 pick, assuming T. Higgins doesn't come to New England.
What if he
I
does?
just want to know what you guys think about
Let's take 'em both.
drafting some of these players
No,
that
not both.
aren't playing because they're injured, like the tackle from Ohio State. Do you think the Patriots would be willing to trade back up and take a risk on someone that didn't play this year?
This is the kid that had the ACL.
Yes,
Yeah.
Josh Simmons from
Yeah.
Ohio State. We talked about him a little bit last week, or
Right.
Tuesday, or whatever. That
It's
was.
hard.
What
It's
did he play,
hard
like
because
4 games.
Yeah, I mean, on one
4
hand,
and
you
a
feel
half.
like they need immediate help, and they need tackles, and you can't go into next year saying we got a rookie tackle and he's probably not going to play this year. But at the same time, they're far away, and there has to be some degree of patience.
But
so
what if he's
kinda
still there
stuck
at
in
2?
between? In the second round?
38. Yeah. Josh Simmons is, like to Deuce's point, if they signed Cam Robinson in free agency and they had a starting left tackle on the roster, not Chukwuekorfor, like a starting
A
left
real
tackle
tackle.
on the roster, then you can
Bonafide.
take your chance on Josh Simmons in the second round and hope that it hits, and then in a year or two he's playing tackle for you. But you can't. That can't be your only plan. That's a.
Yeah.
Thanks, Calvin.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
I don't know on McMillan.
McMillan's in play at 4, no question.
Yeah, I wouldn't rule him out. I mean, he's not like, I'm not in love with him, but I see it. And I'm not usually the big, tall, contested receiver kind of guy. I mean, he's got really good skill. It's just, I mean, I said it before. I want speed on this team. I think that's what this team needs is speed and to push the envelope. And thinking if Vrabel could find another A.J. Brown, if it was Vrabel,
What
I
about
wouldn't be
A.J.
opposed
Brown?
to that. How about A.J. Brown?
Yeah, I mean, he's a really fluid guy, Ted McMillan. I mean, he moves like a much smaller receiver for his size, but I just worry about the fact that if you put him in a good wide receiver class, like where are we really talking about him getting drafted? And now you're going to draft him at 4 overall, when last year I think he probably is like the 4th or 5th wide receiver taken off the board. I don't want to do that. I want to take the most talented player at that position and not get desperate for the receiver.
Yeah, but where do you think, because I think a lot of it is similar with those 2 tackles.
Yeah.
So, I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not an expert in this stuff, but it doesn't sound like Banks or Campbell would be considered better than Alt or Fashanu.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they would be in the same tier as Fashanu. You'll see what Campbell measures out like. But in terms of talent, I would say those guys are in that tier. They're just not in the Joe Alt tier. They're not in the automatic blue chip tier. But they would be probably in most drafts drafted in at least the back end of the top 10. High teens, something like that.
Dominic's in New York. Hey, Dominic.
Hey guys, how y'all doing?
All right.
Yeah, so I was curious about, I guess Mike Vrabel and sort of the offensive coordinator talk. It's kind of interesting. I think the years that he was with the Titans, he had Matt LaFleur and Arthur Smith, and the team had found great success, especially when Arthur Smith was there. So I'm wondering in the back of my head, is Mike Vrabel the kind of guy with his organizational skills? He cannot, I don't know if it's identified talent, but he's able to make the right connections, find the right fits, find the right, OC to be able to actually run this team. Because he's had success with somebody who's struggling now with the Steelers, who would struggle as a head coach with the Falcons. So I'm wondering, maybe is there someone like even a Nick Caley that he could bring? I know we talked about him as a head coach candidate last cycle. Could he have a connection to bring him in and uplift him? Do you prefer someone with more of a veteran experience as offensive coordinator for bringing Mike Vrabel? Or do you believe in Vrabel to bring someone young and kind of coach him up and give him the motivation and the freedom to be able to call plays? I'll take it off.
Okay. Thanks, Dominic.
It's a good question.
How's Nick Caley doing?
He's he's with the Rams still.
Passing game coordinator?
Yeah, passing game coordinator now. He got promoted with the Rams. And, but the bigger problem with him, to me, with Nick Caley is he's never called plays before. At least some of these other guys that we're talking about, Tommy Rees, for example, called plays at the college level at Notre Dame and Alabama. So even though it's a different level, at least he's done it before. He knows the flow of it, and he knows the type of thing that goes into it. But in terms of what the caller asked, I would prefer Vrabel to go younger and try to develop the next guy. Try to bring in the next Ben Johnson, the next Joe Brady, the next Liam Cohn. Don't you have the experience to run the ship? We're not worried about that. You want somebody that's a little bit more innovative, a little bit fresher. So Tommy Rees, Josh McCown, one of those types of people.
Josh McCown's starting to get some play too. What I'd be interested in, and I don't know the answer to this, is what led Mike Vrabel to get LaFleur
I was just thinking the same thing.
and Arthur Smith
Yeah.
in the first place. How did that
Just
come
thinking
about?
that.
Was that
Yep.
because of
Yeah.
the Titans organization? Was that John Robinson?
Yeah.
Did he have some connections? Did Mike have a wider network? Because he did spend some time both in the college game and in Houston.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Did
I don't
LaFleur
have
go
the
from
answer.
Washington? I was just thinking the same thing, but did LaFleur go from Washington to Tennessee? Or was
I believe so,
Yeah. That's a great
I'd have
question.
to
I don't know the answer to that,
check
Paul,
the
but I think that's
timeline on that. Arthur Smith, I want to say, was on a staff with him
I think he was like the tight ends coach or something.
somewhere,
Yeah.
maybe in Houston or something. I don't know. That I could be wrong. I tried to go down this rabbit hole last night to try to figure out all of his coaching connections, and I don't remember exactly about those two. But it's a good point. He has found good coordinators in Tennessee till the end. Tim Kelly and Todd Downing didn't exactly work out.
And Todd Downing's problem was more off-field, too. He had some issues there.
Yeah, and then obviously the quarterback played decline. Ryan Tannehill hit a wall, and that contributed too.
Ben in Hershey, Pennsylvania writes in, we were talking about the football czar. Yeah. And he says, is it possible that the team already has its football czar, and he has TSAR, in Elliott Wolf, who will serve as football overlord while a new head coach will have the autonomy to select the team's general manager? Both head coach and GM would report directly to Wolf. Historically, an EVP title has represented a higher level role than GM in football operations, and he gives examples. In 2014, the Dolphins brought in Tannenbaum to oversee the entire operation as EVP, while Dennis Hickey served as GM. The Commanders used a similar structure from 2021 to 2023, with Marty Herney, EVP of Personnel, and Martin Mayhew, GM. The Broncos staffed both John Elway, EVP, and Matt Russell, GM, and later George Payton as GM. In 2013, the Jaguars gave Tom Coughlin the title of EVP, and GM Dave Caldwell managed day-to-day player personnel decisions. And in 2015, Rich McKay was EVP of football for the Falcons, and Tom Dimitroff was their GM.
Yeah, Rich McKay is still there with the Falcons. It's a good point, but the guys that you named for the most part have a level of expertise in a lot of ways that I don't think
pretty much all those examples are disasters, by the way.
That don't fit Elliott, right? Like Elliott Wolf, to me, it should be, if you're going to keep him on as an executive, he's the personnel guy. He's not the czar. He's not the overseer. The best example of it working, I think, in this way is John Lynch with San Francisco. And John Lynch is sort of like the tone setter to the organization, right? He's an intense guy. He brings a lot of energy. He brings a lot of leadership qualities. The guy that's picking the players is Kyle Shanahan, right? Kyle Shanahan's the one that's grinding the tape. John Lynch is not in his office with the computer screens up watching, the Bowling Green tight end and saying we should draft this guy.
See, that to me is the two different things. And I know a lot of people are like, well, there's a lot of teams, and it's almost all of them, they have the GM and the coach is under the GM, but to me, the best situations are where the coach might not have final say in every single personnel move that they make, like the one that Evan just mentioned. But the coach is kind of in charge. Yeah. Andy Reid is not having Brett Veach force feed him he's not saying, no. You're not going to keep that guy on your 53-man roster. You're going to keep this guy. That's not. Now, Veach is out there getting the players. Andy Reid's not, as Evan says, grinding the tape for every single personnel guy move that they make. I think those are the best situations where you have a strong, Sean McVay and Les Snead work well together.
Yeah, they know what each other wants, and they understand. Yeah, that's what.
And I'm not here to tell you. I can't tell you exactly who has the final say. And I'm not suggesting that Mike Vrabel should come here and have carte blanche like Bill Belichick did. I'm not telling you that should, but if there's something that needs to be decided, I think I would err on the side of the coach over an EVP.
Yeah. So wait, just to be clear, is traditionally EVP is below the GM or above?
He's saying above.
Okay.
Above. I just think that a lot of those are figurehead types. Marty Herney is.
Right.
That's a figurehead.
I don't even know who he is.
He used to be in Carolina. He did actually a good job in Carolina. He's the old media guy who became a GM.
Oh, okay.
Dave Caldwell, Tom Coughlin is outstanding. So he was in charge kind of like Bill Parcells was in charge of Miami late in his career.
Right.
I don't really want to do this anymore. I'll just oversee everything, Tom Coughlin was really good what he was. Dave Caldwell wasn't a good GM.
Yeah.
They had some success there. We saw it firsthand when the Jags almost beat the Patriots in the AFC title game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that type of guy is.
But bottom line, you don't think that Elliott has the experience to be an EVP?
Or just the personality. I think Elliott Wolf is a scout. I think he
kind of agree.
He's a tape grinder. He's a scout. He's somebody that goes to all these Senior Bowl, Shrine Bowl, and private workouts, and he's in the trenches with his guys. I don't think that that role, like the Tom Coughlin, is somebody that has been around the block a little bit, that either was a head coach or an executive for decades.
Like Tom Coughlin built the Jags the first time.
Oh yeah, got him
From
to the
scratch,
AFC
but from
Championship.
scratch.
Yeah, literally.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, he was in charge of everything.
Yeah.
So I trust. You want to give me a guy like Tom Coughlin? Whatever the current
pretty old
version
now.
of that is. well, you know what I mean? Like, you want to give me a version of that now? Sign me up.
Yeah.
Just looking at Matt LaFleur, he was in Houston, but not with my 08, 09. He was an offensive assistant. Mike was still playing at that time. You know, he went from Atlanta as quarterbacks coach in 15-16 to the Rams. It says offensive coordinator. My guess is that's Sean McVay's first year. So he really, to Fred's point, was just coordinating the offense, not actually the offensive coordinator. And then he went to the Titans in 18, and then ended up getting his head coaching job from that.
Yeah.
1 year.
1 year with the Titans.
It's your nightmare.
So I don't know. I mean, bottom line is I'm with Evan. I don't know exactly what the connection was to get Mike Vrabel in contact with
It at least
Matt
shows
LaFleur.
that he's plugged in. He knows, I mean, if we were to hire, I don't know, the Rams offensive coordinator right now, like, you'd feel pretty good about it.
I would feel
guess
really good about that. Like if Nick Haley is that next guy, I know
Yeah.
that we were strongly interested in him as OC last year. I'd feel pretty good about that.
I mean, that's why you hire Vrabel, right? Is because he's a turnkey option. Like he should have all these connections, and he probably already has these guys lined up. It doesn't seem like anybody has a great idea of who it is 100%, but I'm sure that he already has one guy or maybe 2 or 3 that on a short list.
That's the most interesting thing to me about the Ben Johnson interview of who's he bringing with him. Like that part of the conversation to me is who do you have lined up? Who do you and is it easy? Is he like this guy? I know they'll come, or is it? Well, I'd like to try to get him. I'd like to try to get like what's
That's why
it like?
I think Fred asked, if you could pick anybody, who would you want? I don't have the answer because I need more information.
Yeah, because it's going to come with people.
I mean,
with
the
people with
idea
him.
of Ben Johnson probably intrigues me more than any other idea. But if you're going to tell me Mike Vrabel's going to come, he's going to take care of the defense, and he's got a really strong offense, even if it's Josh, a really strong offensive coordinator in mind. Well, Ben Johnson, I don't know. We're going to try to cobble together a staff the way that Gerard Mayo had to. Then I'll take Vrabel.
Right, he's going to have to poach a bunch of guys from the Lions, and who's going to go, who's not.
Yeah, so
it's hard.
His offensive coordinator Ben Johnson, who most people think is Mark Brunell, who's currently with the Lions.
He ain't coming here
as the quarterbacks coach, and he's so Eggstrand, right? The tight ends coach Tanner Eggstrand. He's next in line in Detroit to take over as offensive coordinator for Ben Johnson. So there's always.
Was he one of the guys we talked to last year?
Yeah, we interviewed him last year. This is like always these
Steel trap.
these like unwritten rules of like you can't poach these guys, but you can poach those guys, right? So apparently Brunell's the guy that he could poach and bring with him to his next stop as his coordinator.
And then can't take the succession plan, though.
Right, he can't take the succession plan.
But maybe the Patriots could take this guy Enstrom.
As a head coach?
You mean without
as an OC?
Without Ben Johnson, you mean?
Yeah. Without Ben Johnson.
Yeah.
Vrabel comes in and takes that guy.
But now if I'm that Eggstrand guy, I'm like, why exactly am I leaving the best offense in football to go?
Because now it's your offense.
But it's going to be
his offense. But it's going to be his offense anyway.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
So on the defensive side, he was in Miami with Lou Anarumo. So
Sweet Lou.
So Big Lou gets fired in Cincinnati, and now he's available to come be his defensive coordinator. Darren Rizzi, the New Orleans Saints interim head coach, was in Miami with Ben Johnson as well. So staff would most likely be Brunell, Lou Anarumo, and Rizzi as a special teams coordinator.
And Rizzi, by the way, has, if you wanted to bring him here for special team, like he's played at URI, local guy, teammates with Gresh.
Oh.
He's got a lot of boxes to check there.
Oh, actually, do you know who was the last special teams coordinator for Vrabel in Tennessee?
No.
Tom Quinn, who is currently employed by the New England Patriots.
I don't know who Tom Quinn is.
He is our assistant special teams coordinator.
I know Bob Quinn.
He was also the defensive coordinator at Holy Cross my freshman year there. One of his he's a well-traveled coach, but.
Yeah, there's probably a decent chance that if it's Vrabel, that special teams might not be touched.
Yeah.
It's like when we had Googe as the offensive line coach. Googe was a player at BU when I was there.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Greg and Charlotte, I'm sort of in the camp that I'd be happy with either Vrabel or Johnson at this point, but I wondered what your opinion was. Do you think either Vrabel or Johnson would be a better draw for free agent talent? And do you think one coach or the other would significantly impact how we think about the 4th overall pick?
I think
Which coach would be a bigger draw or a better draw?
I think they're different. Like I can make arguments for both guys because I think there'll be guys who like Vrabel's kind of personality as a tough guy, a guy who played, who's been there and had a little bit of success. But I think guys would also be drawn to the offensive whiz
Isn't it as simple as that?
You know,
like offensive guys would probably be more drawn to
Yeah, that's
Johnson.
fair.
Defensive guys would probably be more drawn to Vrabel.
Yeah,
Probably.
So then it becomes about the coordinators and how do you balance it out and how do you hire an offensive coordinator with Vrabel that brings some offensive guys, and if you're Ben Johnson, how do you hire a defensive coordinator that brings some of the defensive guys too?
Boston Cream writes in, if Vrabel means McDaniels and McDaniels means a fullback, sign me up. Paul, one of my favorite parts of the 2024 shows was you calling out so many of Belichick's double standards and using his media gigs to take shots at the organization. So what do you think about his comments in regards to the last 4 years and having a disconnect with the scouts and managers?
Yeah, very convenient line of demarcation, right?
The Maginot line.
Huh. Tom Brady's gone, and suddenly our vision isn't the same. Coincidence? I think not. Yeah, just another in a long line of
It wasn't
his
me.
hypocrisy.
It wasn't
Don't
me.
blame me, it's them.
Right.
know.
It's not a shared vision.
It is
Not a
interesting though.
shared
Like I
vision.
mean, not that I
What a
expected
fraud.
it,
Not Tom Brady.
but to never have any even acknowledgement that things completely fell apart here from him. Like he just, it's like he kind of sits like he's
My
still
hands
the
were
guy.
tied, Mike.
I know.
We no longer had the same vision.
Yeah.
They wanted
Anthony
to
in
spend money,
Seattle.
they didn't.
Right.
Or whatever
Anthony
it
in
was.
Seattle
No, I wanted
says,
to spend money. They didn't.
Yeah, maybe.
right now I feel like a kid without parents. I need a coach to come in and make me feel like everything's going to be okay. Right now I just feel lost. I do think they should have given Mayo another year, but my one exception was if we had a chance to get Ben Johnson. I don't know if he can be a head coach or not, but I want to take a big swing, and that's my example of a big swing. I'm warming up to the idea of Vrabel, but I'm certainly not afraid of losing out on him by doing our diligence in interviewing other candidates. Lastly, on a side note, on the postgame show, when Nelson called into the show, I turned up my volume because he never lets me down. Sure enough, 3 seconds in, he drops an S-bomb. You guys reacted, but let it slide. 10 seconds in, F-bomb, call dropped, and I'm dying laughing.
I'm trying. Like I tried to
Okay,
smooth that
that's
one.
it.
I go, all right, I can't let you get that. Come on, F-bombs. Come on.
I know. No
You
socks.
got to have some standards.
No socks. His glasses steamed up a little bit when he heard
Yeah.
that F-bomb go.
He did. In like the span of like 15 seconds, it was S and then F.
Oh, no.
Greg says, why would the Patriots consider Mike Vrabel as their head coach when he was passed on a year ago? Bring in Gronk. Imagine Gronk as the head coach of a football team.
Yes.
I can imagine.
Animal House.
It's in Detroit.
He's like one of those. Just be good. Just be awesome. Why can't you just be awesome?
Why can't you just jump over that guy and catch it
right. Just be 6'7" and 250.
and run?
right.
Yeah, we're on the big screen right now. Give me a chest bump.
You all right, dude?
I just got a little.
Yeah, you
I'm,
got-
I'm not sick at all, Fred. Don't
It's
worry.
like
I'm
you got
100%
lava in
better.
your throat.
I had a little lava. I
Yeah.
did drink some
Little
lava.
Chris Berman like
Yeah.
gargling with lava.
TPX hotline. Let's go back to it, and we'll go to John in Virginia. Hey, John. Oh, John is not there.
That's just
He's
poor to
gone.
me. You didn't make him wait that long.
Lunch.
That's just poor to me.
Yeah.
Lunch
Virginia is
time.
for people who
It's
hang
lunch.
out. Patty's in Agawam. What's up, Patty?
Hey, good afternoon, gentlemen.
This is more of a liquid lunch, Patty.
So I got a couple hypotheticals for you, and it has to do with the the possible offensive coordinators for the two top candidates. So the first one, like if Vrabel does come and he does bring Josh McDaniels, and remember, this is hypothetical, would you like the idea of kind of what Andy Reid did? I can't remember if it was before or after they drafted Pat Mahomes, where he got someone from the college ranks to sort of modernize his West Coast offense. Like if we could possibly work with somebody in the college ranks to modernize Josh's offense.
Well, I think.
for Drake May.
Yeah, I mean,
That would make sense.
I mean, Josh was. We did our Brady thing with Josh, and that's what he's been doing. He's been going around to colleges and other places and other programs. That's what he's been doing the last couple of
Yeah,
years.
he talked to us a little bit about that. That's a good point, Mike. I'd forgotten about that. He spent some time with Ohio State, I think. out in the West Coast with USC and
Auditing,
UCLA.
doing a lot of auditing.
Yeah, doing a lot of
Josh
auditing.
McDaniels did this?
Yeah.
Oh.
He spent a lot of time on some college campuses
That's exciting.
last year.
Well, that's hopeful.
Yeah, but I think, Patty, you're right. I
Well,
think,
in Kansas
I think
City,
it
it was Brad Childress. It wasn't a college coach, but I digress.
about the spread.
Yeah.
No, but I just whoever it was, I don't really care who it is, as long as you understand your limitations.
Yeah.
That's why I really like the idea of Vrabel spending time with Cleveland trying to learn offense.
Yeah.
Like, I know what people think, and I know what I don't know.
Yeah. So in 2013, when Andy Reid got to Kansas City, so this was before Patrick Mahomes, he hired Brad Childress as a spread game analyst. And so
That's what I was thinking.
He turned his West Coast offense into what Mike Lombardi coined as West Coast College, and he combined the spread elements of the college game with the traditional West Coast offense and birthed what we now know as the Chiefs offense. And obviously, Mahomes came later and took it to new heights. But that was the birth of that. But that was Brad Childress, who was the guy that he hired to do that.
What do you guys remember about Andy Reid's first stint? I mean, I was doing a little just, looking back at some of the coaches that got second chances. And, I remember Andy Reid really kind of had a bad rap as, like, terrible game manager, right? At the end of the game.
Clock management. I still don't think he's great at it.
Yeah, that was
and he's win Super Bowls anyways.
But it was,
imagine that.
But he went to 3 or 4 straight NFC championships, kind of right out of the gate. 4
in a row.
Yeah, 4 in a row. I don't know. I just was doing
He
a little bit.
He was a very good
research.
coach in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
He's been a great coach, not coincidentally, with the best quarterback in the game.
Is that how it kind of works?
It's kind of how it works.
It's not when he called timeout. Oh, interesting.
So,
But I remember-
I could tell you're mocking me.
No, it's actually more towards Barth.
And I'll allow.
You're in the same.
And I'll allow.
category.
But this is kind of what I'm talking about. Like, we give the coach the credit. Like, Patrick Mahomes fixed Andy Reid's clock management issues, much like Tom Brady and Belichick admitted it 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Tom Brady covered up for a lot of missteps along the way. That's the benefit of having such greatness at that position. Brady kind of made Belichick look at clock and time management in a whole different light.
Speaking of clock management and in-game thinking, Vrabel gets a lot of credit for that.
I think he's a good game.
There was a anecdote on the Twitter yesterday about a game, and I forget who they were playing, but toward the end of the game, he purposely ran a 12th guy out on the field to get that penalty and it ended up saving 40 seconds at the end of the game, and they ended up winning.
He knows all those from Belichick, a lot of those wrinkles and stuff. But that was sort of the exchange with Kevin Stefanski. Stefanski wanted to get better at that kind of stuff, and Vrabel wanted to get better at offense. So they brought him in last year in Cleveland as a consultant, and Stefanski taught him offense, and he taught Stefanski game management. And that was sort of the
little
deal.
things like that. So you do that. You do the loophole in the clock when it's outside of 5 minutes that we saw him do here in the wild card game.
Bill.
Right. Yeah. Because I'm the only one allowed to bend the rules.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, right.
And this is Mike Vrabel was involved with the original thing way back when they called 2 timeouts in a row.
That's right.
And then they ended up altering that rule so you couldn't do that anymore.
Yep.
So, again, is it the coach?
Yeah.
Or do you have some special players too?
Well, that was part of it. So I remember Andy Reid being a little bit of a punchline, and even had tons of success. But I just wonder what the mood was in Kansas City. If they're saying a lot of the things like we're saying of he was a good coach there, but is he really going to get us to the promised land? Is he really that special guy?
It wasn't. I mean, the Andy Reid hiring in Kansas City was not met with, but this is it. This is the missing piece that we needed to get us over the top. But they weren't that kind of a team.
Who did he
either.
succeed? Schottenheimer, or who came before him?
No, not Schottenheimer.
Jeez.
It would have been. Would it be?
Who was that jerk coach?
Herm Edwards, or was it Herm
this is
Edwards or
about-
Vermeil?
This is before my time.
There's another guy out of Pittsburgh I'm thinking of maybe. Shoot.
I want to say Herm Edwards.
Yeah.
He succeeded, but I don't know for sure.
Brian's in Raleigh, North Carolina. Hey, Brian.
Brian.
Hello, Brian.
I thought I would pull
He's
Fred
not
there.
there.
So
Yell
technically,
about
it was Romeo Crennel.
Oh, yeah.
So Crennel
Brian.
served as the interim in 2011 when they fired Todd Haley.
That's the
Oh,
one. That's
Todd
who I was
Haley.
thinking
I
of.
forgot about Todd Haley.
He's from Pittsburgh.
And then
Yeah,
Crennel
yeah.
hung on for one more
Yeah.
year after his
Yeah.
interim season, and then they hired Andy Reid.
Yep.
Todd Haley
Yeah.
actually brought him to the playoffs in 2009. I forgot about him.
Yeah.
One more email, then we'll take a break. We got to hurry. Pete in Ottawa, now in Fort Lauderdale. Listening to old podcasts from January 2023. At that time, Evan seemed to really dislike and not think that Josh Allen was good. When did Evan change his opinion? Also around that time, Mike was thinking he was going to have to get a dog due to pressure from his family. Did he get a dog?
No dog.
I don't trust people who don't like dogs.
No dog,
fair.
no orca.
It's not that I don't like dogs. I just don't want to have to take care of a dog.
You want to be the uncle to a dog.
I want to be
funny.
the uncle to a dog.
Yeah.
I don't
right.
trust
Perfect.
people that like dogs more than people.
Oh, sorry.
He doesn't
probably
like
true. That's probably
people
true,
who
too.
don't like dogs.
Yeah, I don't know. I was
People that
probably,
treat their dogs like they're actual people.
I
think the
probably
dog thing
being
might have
When
When
did,
sarcastic
when did you decide that Josh Allen was good?
like 5 years ago. So
Okay.
I would assume that
Yeah,
was a
that's weird.
sarcastic.
Because you met him last year.
that
You
was
were-
maybe
yeah.
a sarcastic.
Yeah, you,
Okay.
you
jab
had your
at
love
Josh
connection
Allen
with
that
him
day.
after the game. Like,
Yeah,
you're
no, this
so
is-
awesome, man.
Own your bad takes.
No.
Own it.
Own it.
Own it.
Folks, confidence, period. It's important to have when you're on the road. With Bridgestone tires on your car, truck, SUV, or minivan, you're riding on tires you can trust. Bridgestone tires are engineered to give you peace of mind so you can focus on enjoying the journey. So whether you're on your morning commute, a cross-country road trip, or a relaxing Sunday drive, Bridgestone tires will be with you wherever life's roads may lead. Bridgestone, solutions for your journey. Available now at Sullivan Tire. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, more calls and emails and picks.
Isn't it time to get exactly what you want? Welcome to Red Hot Deal Days from Verizon, where you get your pick of our best deals. Like My Plan, where you can pick the perks you want and save on every one. For limited time, bring your own phones to a Verizon store and you can get My Plan for our best price ever. Get exactly what you want in your phone plan and only pay for what you need. Bring your phones to your Verizon store today and get My Plan. These deals won't last. It's your Verizon.
With FedEx One Rate, you can ship to your student for a simple, predictable flat rate. Send a box full of home-baked treats that say, "Your father and I miss you." Or send a box full of instant noodles that says, "Your father and I would like you to stop asking us for money." Either way, one rate fits all. FedEx One Rate. 2-day shipping, one flat rate. Starting at $14.50. Visit FedEx.com/OneRate for details. Exclusions apply.
What'd you think of Joe today?
Maye played great. It was a lot of fun to watch. I saw the preparation that he put in throughout the week, and I told him on the field, it's hard to do. You haven't played all year. You come in the last game of the year and do the things that you did. Obviously put a lot of people on notice around the league. And I'm like I told him, I was excited for what he did. It was a lot of fun to watch.
Were you surprised at what he did today? But then again, probably not, because you guys watched him do it against your defense all year long, right?
Yeah, no, I wasn't surprised at all. Like I said, the preparation that he did throughout the week, and it came to fruition today.
Kobe, you're set to become a free agent. How do you view your future and what's next?
It's part of being a free agent. You don't know right now, obviously, and so figure some things out and then go from there.
What's important to you in your next destination? Whether it's
I think I'll get some time to reflect, and every year you got to reevaluate what's important, and in a couple of weeks I'll figure that out and figure out my plan of action.
Jacoby, from what you've experienced in the NFL, what do you think this team and this franchise needs to do this offseason and things to move forward to take a step back toward being a contender?
Continue to build. Obviously not the results we want, but it's first year for a lot of head coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, GM. But people don't understand all of that. But obviously good things take time. It's not like Rome was built in a day. I know that saying, but keep building with the right people around here. You got a lot of talent here. Got a lot of good coaches around here. And the word that people don't want to use is patience. You got to have patience with this thing, man. I think just keep getting better.
You mentioned first year head coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. How hard is that for a team to come together when everybody's learning on the job?
Yeah, it's hard, but at the same time, that's why they pay us, and obviously next year will be second year, so you obviously you got to continue to get better from year one to year two, and I figured that's the mindset.
Did you see growth from Coach Mayo? Like, are there things you would point to that say he was
better?
Oh, for sure. You know, it's hard for y'all to see that because y'all obviously aren't here every day. But you know, I think it's continued growth throughout the year that I saw, and you know, obviously getting an off season when there's no games in time, like for the dust to settle, and you know, and look back at each week and each game and reevaluate, and then you see the jump. It's just like what you do with players. You know, year one, you what you expect from a rookie, and then year two you get better, and year three you get better, and year four you get better, and that's how this league works.
But for coaches too.
2 more questions, guys.
Like
Yes.
coaches, you feel like
Kobe, would you be interested in coming back here?
Yeah, man. I mean, like I said, it's obviously you got to reflect on a lot of things and figure those things out. Yeah.
What did it mean to get a win today, especially when you consider how the season went this year?
I mean, it feels good, you know. I like winning, and it feels good, you know, to end the season with a dub.
As you know, it was a weird week. The fans all knew if you guys lost, you get the #1 pick. How weird was that today, with the vibe in the stadium? Kind of, they wanted you to lose, so you get the #1 pick in the draft.
Oh, they ain't got nothing to do with me. I want this win. I don't care about nothing. You know, the first round pick. I just wanted this win back.
What did you think of Joe Milton today?
He's nice, but I already knew that though. I mean, I trained with him in the summer, and I always knew he had talent.
A few weeks ago, I think you said, you hate losing, obviously. To go through another season like this, how would you kind of reflect on that and just in what this season has been like?
I mean, for me, I'm gonna work. I don't like losing seasons, and I feel like for the team, everybody should have that same mindset. You know, man, we don't like this taste, and man, get another taste, next year, and a good taste though this time.
Do you think everybody's got that same mindset? Do you think everybody has that same mindset?
I mean, they should. I mean, I don't know how everybody's thinking, so I mean, they should. I mean, they shouldn't like how this season went. So I feel like, it should come back, work hard this off season, and come back next year and let's get it.
You've talked about liking to play for Gerard Mayo. A lot of you guys have. Mm-hmm. You've had his back. I'm sure you'd love to play for him again.
Sure.
But if he were let go, how disappointed would you be?
I would be hurt. I ain't gonna lie, I'd be hurt just because he's a good coach. I mean, it's his first year with a lot of young players. A lot of captains was out hurt. I mean, so a lot of people didn't take that into consideration. We was a young team, and with a first year coach, and it was a whole new DNA. Different coaches and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's gonna be slow at first, but once we all get together, lock in, it'll be different.
What did you guys see behind the scenes that we didn't see, or that the fans didn't see, that makes you so sure that he's going to be a really good coach?
Because I mean, we worked and he pushed us. It just the outcome didn't come our way. We just had the bad end of the stick, but it doesn't last forever. Bad times don't last forever, and we just got to go out there and ball.
Pop, was this a sort of a strange atmosphere today? Sort of like a scattering of booze when you guys would win,
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get into that because I love the fans, even though they could be mad at us, that we won, but it was weird, it wasn't as loud as you usually get but I mean, I understand. Yeah, I understand.
Gerard said it was emotional in the locker room after the game. What was his message to you guys?
Just definitely stay safe, for the the off season, but we should be proud of this win, despite how the season went, man, this win still means something.
How do you feel like you've developed individually, personally this season?
I believe I developed pretty good. I did better than last year, so I mean, I'm going up and up. As long as I'm going in the right direction, I believe I'm doing pretty good.
You guys all making plans this off season to get together, work with Drake, and just kind of hone in on more work with him?
Drake had came up to me and say, Pop Shadow, where you be at? I said, I be in Florida. They said, ooh, we're gonna be at the beach working out. I said, yeah, let's get it. And he be in North Carolina, so I'm gonna come up to North Carolina with you. He said, I don't know if you want that. It's still gonna be a little cold. I said, it'll be all right, for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
And now, great moments in history.
He says, are any of you playing Wordle?
Yeah.
I play. Do you play, Eric?
No.
You don't, why not?
Oh my God, he gets so upset.
Well, the way you answered it, no.
That's not.
Isn't that how he just said it?
It is how he said it.
Yes.
Absolutely not.
You were very
It's not
dismissive.
how I said it in my head.
I'm going to tell you how I read it.
Yeah.
I read it that...
I have no time for that.
No. He has plenty of time for it. He plays a bunch of other games like that.
Okay.
But everybody else is doing that one.
Right. All right. Yeah. So you don't
That's
like
how I read it.
You don't like Wordle, Eric?
I don't know. I've never done it.
So then why are you so dismissive?
I'm not so dismissive.
No.
Why do you think they chose 5-letter word? Is that
Stuck.
the most common number in the English language?
I don't know.
I don't know, but it's
that would be.
It's always maddening when they use a letter twice, which I think
I
they
don't
did
like
today.
that. I don't like that.
Which I think they did
They
today.
did that today.
Yeah,
They did.
And
Well, like if you pick a letter, it only counts.
We're not going to
what it is.
explain all the rules. If
Yeah.
you're interested, go find out.
Like
My
for
God,
example,
why are you so upset?
like if it was
Because you were so dismissive.
Yeah.
I wasn't.
Now you want to know about it.
You were a little bit dismissive.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
That's another great moment from
Oh, the memories.
Even listening to that back, I thought for sure you were going to say, go F yourself.
Yeah.
That would have been extreme.
Go find out yourself.
All right. I still play Wordle.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I lost
I play Wordle and then I play Connections.
Oh, yeah.
You know which one that is?
Yeah.
It's like-
I don't know connections.
Yeah.
I still play Wordle
Yeah.
more often than not.
Yeah.
Did you ever not get it?
Oh, yeah. Not a lot, but
Yeah.
I'd say like once every 30 weeks.
I had one last week.
Yeah.
That's why I thought of it. I had one last
Yeah.
week that I didn't
Well,
get.
once in a while I make a mistake and I use a letter I shouldn't have, I know you can't use anymore, and I'm like, oh, what did you just do? You know?
Beats himself up over it.
Yeah, I do.
He's in his office.
Yeah. Throw the phone across the
Damn,
It's like,
Fred.
what'd the
damn.
Patriots do now? No, nothing. It's the
All
Wordle.
right. 855 PATS 500 is the TPX hotline. Get some more emails and calls in here before we have to do picks. Alex will be joining us. Andre from New Jersey said, if Paul wants to break out his little poll, put me in for Vrabel as the
that's a
next
good
head
idea,
coach
Paulie.
over Ben
Do a
Johnson,
poll.
just because of the experience, the success with the Titans, and feel like he will bring in a better coaching staff. Feel like with Ben, the Kraus would sell a lot more on why he should be in Boston with a disaster of a roster. Maybe Gonzo, an all-pro schooler, will not be good enough compared to a team like Chicago. Also, side note, Fred is right. The league is better when Baker Mayfield is playing well. Let Baker bake this weekend.
I love that one.
Baker Bake.
Yeah, I had a little poll going in the post-game show
Oh.
about how most people were pissed off that they had won the game.
No.
Yeah.
And then
Then
the
that
poll,
quickly went
The
sideways.
poll went sideways at about 5 o'clock.
Do you think that you just said it, like the hastiness of the announcement with Gerard Mayo after the team basically just got an earful for winning the game on Sunday? Do you guys think that had anything to do with how quickly that announcement came down? Because that announcement was
I'm not here to rule that out.
we came up to the press box after open locker room and everything like that, and I remember I was walking to go use the restroom, and all of a sudden I just heard this like roar in
Cries.
the press box, just whoa.
Were you up in the press box at that? No, you were
No,
with us.
I was
were
with
us.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
And
why
I actually saw.
Fred did the hand raise.
Yeah, I
Like,
actually
oh.
saw Mark Daniels, and I looked at Mark Daniels, and I was like, you might want to get back to your computer. and he was like, what do you mean, why? And I told him why, and he just took off. Didn't even look at me, he just took off.
That's the worst feeling.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because you think you got X amount of work to do, and suddenly you realize, nah.
Imagine what the paper would have been like that night.
Oof.
Back in the day, you'd run to the payphone, right?
Drop it down.
Stop the presses.
Stop the presses. Dan writes, is there any way we could convince Vrabel to be the GM, football czar, and Ben Johnson the head coach? Is that an insane suggestion? Probably.
It's a fun one.
I mean, yeah.
It's just a fun fact.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your whole theory about the win, I don't think winning the game had anything to do with why Gerard Mayo lost
Agreed.
his job.
Agreed.
But I don't completely dismiss the
Just
swiftness
pissed and be like,
of
you
the
know what?
announce-
We're
of the
doing it
announcement.
now.
Like maybe they would,
Yeah.
you know, like I can't believe we just won that game. You know what? Now I want them out
right.
now.
I'm not
you
waiting
know.
till tomorrow to hear the.
And I'm
like,
not saying that
yeah.
that's what happened, but
Yeah.
you know,
But you can see that could happen.
stranger things have happened. Let's put it that way.
Brandon says, I want to give Evan and Barth props for their show yesterday. It was their best episode of Catch 22 yet.
Heated.
And I look forward to more of their off-season episodes, especially if Ben Johnson is somehow selected as HC. What do you think made yesterday's show so good?
So this
I listened
is-
to a little
I-
bit.
We weren't there.
So
They were getting after it.
I would say that these are our two philosophies on football manifested in two different people.
I like it.
That now just so happen to be candidates to be the Patriots' next head coach.
That's a good show.
So normally we argue about like Kyle Shanahan, which is like irrelevant really in the grand scheme of things with the Patriots. But now that the Patriots could hire their Kyle Shanahan, I'm all hot and bothered by that. And he's got his football guy and Mike Vrabel that's going to come in and run the program and all that kind of stuff. And so he's hot and bothered by that. And so it's just a perfect debate between the two of us. And I think the most fun part about it was that we both like both guys. So it's not like we would be super upset if it wasn't our guy that gets hired,
Right.
but we can go to the mat with him still too.
I don't think we should get too far ahead of ourselves by worrying about Vrabel's OC getting taken away from us after a year or two. Obviously, that wouldn't be ideal, and acknowledge it's a concern, but I don't think Vrabel should hire someone based on whether or not they'll be here long term. If we end up churning through OCs, hopefully it's a sign that our offense is elite and our program is strong. Good point.
Yeah, I like
that
it.
was Alex's point yesterday. Was just just like Bill did. You start a pipeline. It's Charlie Weiss, and then it's Josh McDaniels, and it's Bill O'Brien, and all that type of thing. But that was, I think, very rare and led by Brady. But obviously, if you can pull that off, you pull it off.
Yeah.
It's also, I think, in the modern game, to use Fred's thing from earlier, I think that those things happen faster now. It was 4 years of Charlie Weiss with Brady before Charlie Weiss left. And then it's, 6-7 years of McDaniels before he left. And then you had Billy O for another 3-4 years before you. Then all of a sudden, you don't have as much time to groom those people behind the scenes. Now, they should have had somebody ready to go when McDaniels left the second time.
Yeah.
That's a misstep on Belichick's part, in my opinion. They should have had someone, but they started to leave quicker, and I think if you look around the league now, people start. You have a couple of really good years. If Nick Caley came here to be Vrabel's offensive coordinator and has 2 good years, he's gone.
Yeah.
Someone's going to hire him.
Yep.
You see like Bobby Slowick last year came out of nowhere. He was getting interviews, even with a subpar year in year 2 with Stroud. He's still kind of in the
cycle.
Yeah, cycle is probably the best. I was going to use Fred Zeitgeist, but cycle.
Yeah. I just wonder.
It just happens fast now.
I wonder what would have happened. And
shortage of good coaches.
And Bill, I'm sure knows. I'm sure I know. Bill knows better than all of us about Nick Caley. But what would have really happened if they had given the offense to Nick Caley in 2022? And was he really that far away from being ready? Because he was on the staff for a while. At that point, I want to say it was 4 or 5 years that he was already on the staff, and he was coaching tight ends, which is a usual pipeline to offensive coordinator. And it was just interesting. If he had handed it over to Nick Caley in 22, would it have been that much of a disaster?
I think too, with these comments about the last 4 years from Bill, thinking about it now, it makes a little bit more sense to me. Some of the stuff we speculated of him doing things out of spite, of being like, well, that's how you want to do it? Okay, we'll do it that way. Some of those things never really rang true, but now that you see Bill clearly points the line going back all the way to 2020, a lot of those decisions now make a little bit more sense to me. I can find it a little bit more believable that he was, being obtuse about things and making decisions that maybe weren't necessarily what he thinks is best for the football team, but he was kind of just doing it to do it because, in his view, that's what they wanted him to do, or, how they wanted to run
But that's
things.
silly.
Right.
Who, other than him, wanted Matt Patricia to be the offensive coordinator? Matt Patricia didn't want to be the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
He took a bullet for the coach.
We owe him the debt of gratitude.
And you just say, well, really, I'd rather have you just say thank you and be on with it.
Right.
Oh, you're a debt of gratitude. Someday you'll have.
Ray in St. Louis says, do you all feel there was a different reaction from players compared to when we let Bill go last year? Seems like they had Gerard's back more as compared to with Bill. What do you think? Not now. You got guys.
Yeah, I disagree.
You guys.
Well, it's hard because you had an open locker room after Gerard was fired, and we didn't really get to talk to any of the Patriots players
that's
after
true.
Bill got
absolutely,
canned. So
absolutely correct. You would have gotten, I think. I actually thought the reaction was kind of lukewarm on Monday. I mean, I thought there were some people that sort of just said, well, that's the business that we're in, and that's kind of what happens. I thought David Andrews was pretty matter-of-fact about it.
He was. He definitely was.
You know,
I mean, he just seemed
I
like
thought Gottschall was pretty. I thought Dietrich Wise was one that was, he deserved more
like
time.
Someone killed his dog.
You know? Yeah. But I didn't. I think Mike makes a great point. We didn't get that in that locker room with Bill,
which was unfettered access, and I mean that was, I think last year they wrote didn't Andrew Callahan and Doug Kyde wrote a postseason kind of analysis like they did this year, but you didn't have a chance to just walk through the locker room and have all those guys just sitting there at the ready waiting, and there were plenty of those conversations going on the side beside the scrums that we were all part of.
It was definitely bizarre to go into a locker room where there wasn't a head coach that was in charge. And it did kind of feel a little bit like the Wild Wild West. Like, these guys could say anything. Like, there's nobody in charge. Like, there's nobody.
I mean, they said everything when someone was in charge.
I know. So now there's nobody in charge. It's even, even worse.
Joe has a would you rather. 2 options. Option A is head coach Vrabel. OC is Josh McCown. DC is Shane Bowen. Option B, head coach is Ben Johnson. OC is Mark Brunell, and DC is Lou Anarumo.
Both good options.
Yeah, I like both options. Very well thought out.
Shane Bowen's not going to be the DC, but
he's the Giants guy, right?
Yeah, he's the Giants.
But I don't need a DC.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need, necessarily like a Lou Anarumo.
You don't need an
DC.
He's pretty good. He's a pretty good defensive hard out. He was in the Hard Knocks this summer with the Giants, and they brought him in.
I would probably take B. I would probably take Ben Johnson, but not, those are good. Those are both good options.
Yeah,
I like the it was well thought out.
Yeah, agreed.
Another email comes in. Who's this from? Jay. All right. First, I wanted to ask if you also think Phil Perry kind of looks like Andy Bighead, but with a smaller head.
No. Phil is striking.
He's a strikingly handsome man. Andy's not.
Okay.
Well, some women were really taken by Andy.
And not just the women.
He had his followers.
Oh, I don't know who that
Really?
would be. I know
MOB,
Phil Perry.
May.
I know Phil Perry does.
He's a type. He's got a type.
Yeah.
Our own MOB
Oh,
had
MOB
it bad for Phil Perry.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, she also thought that Mike Giardi was the best smelling guy on the beat.
But he is.
Yeah.
I can confirm.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't necessarily think they look. I mean, first of all, Andy's half the size. Phil's tall.
Andy's pretty jacked. I mean, Andy's probably.
You
got
gotta
bigger
just
biceps.
keep smelling it now.
Jay also says, I hate times 6, double hate, and loathe entirely the idea of Josh McDaniels coming back to be the OC.
Wow.
It's just another retread, and one would think Vrabel, the leading candidate seemingly, would have more options and options with more innovative new concepts to take advantage of Drake May's skill. Also, if Vrabel is the coach, I could really see them drafting Will Campbell. He seems like the type of player right up his alley, and could also see them signing someone in free agency, something for Evan Soto. Who's Soto?
Sign one, draft one.
Oh, that's what that means?
Sign a tackle, draft a tackle.
Okay.
Yeah, because we were, no half measures at the tackle position. Chooks for, so like let's actually go out there and let's address the position.
He says Wyatt Millum is another interesting prospect, but I can't see them taking tackles in the first 2 rounds.
Oh, okay.
I do like your thought of Vrabel leaning toward a tackle.
And especially a kid like that he's kind of got the Vrabel attitude.
Yeah, but I would say Ben Johnson would do the same. Like Ben Johnson, I am sure knows that what butters his bread in Detroit is that offensive line and Penny Sewell and that whole group. So I would be shocked if Ben Johnson came in here and was like, I really need a wide receiver. Like I don't think that he would be that way at all.
Travis in West Virginia writes in, Fred, Ace Ticket was pretty self-explanatory, but I have no idea what TPX is, and you've never specified. They make phones and communication systems.
There you go.
So on all our desks, they're TPX phones.
Yeah, that's
that
fitting.
Nobody uses.
It's
Does anybody in companies use their desk phone anymore?
I got a call the other day.
I don't have one anymore.
Oh, I get messages, but they're from like nonsense.
Well,
yeah.
I can't retrieve my messages.
Oh, you don't know how? It's a button.
God.
It's got there's a symbol that has literally it's a piece of mail.
And I get to that.
Yeah.
and I can't
You don't have a PIN code.
I thought I did, but evidently it's not the same as it was.
Okay.
Oh man.
So I did. It was striking.
Oh,
I got
because you
I got a
moved.
call. Yeah.
So you have to set your new phone up.
I
You never set
tried.
your new phone up.
Yeah. What are you going to do? As you said,
Go
you
to
don't
the
really need it.
intranet. The intranet.
I don't think you need it.
And then it has a list of
I
how
got
to
a call
do
from
that.
Alabama though the other day, and I said, "Hello, this is Paul." I can't remember the last time I took a call in my office.
When it rings and you're like, "What is that?" Oh, my phone.
What is it, DeBoer? Who's the coach over in Alabama now? DeBoer?
Kalen DeBoer.
Kalen
yeah.
DeBoer, yes.
Was that him
It's calling
calling you?
Paul.
Or?
No, it was a radio show.
Get some recommendations about coaches.
I do.
No?
Big Patriots fan, producer of one of the shows down in Alabama. He wanted to get my take on
Did you
Mayo.
get a roll tide in? Did you throw him a roll tide? A little
No,
butter?
high tide.
High tide.
High tide.
Also, Travis
I like that
says,
commercial.
also, will you be issuing a written statement about Matt Smith similar to the one Mr. Kraft issued about Mayo? Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible.
I put Matt in a terrible position.
It was
untenable position.
He's gonna cry himself to sleep tonight. Oh, that's great.
I should do a fake one. Matt, just kind of leave it on the copy machine downstairs for him to find. You know.
Oh, that's gonna leave a mark. Oh, that's
Fred
awesome.
Fred is the steward of the post-game show.
There's your email of the week, Alex. That's awesome.
That's funny. All right. A couple more calls. We don't really have to hurry too much.
No, we got time.
But we are going to do a couple bonus touts, the college games.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean by that, Paul?
I do know what you mean. I just am not really prepared to make picks, but I'll just go with
At all?
whatever. Not really.
You're not into it?
Oh, I'm into it. I just don't know.
Oh, for the college?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 2 games.
For the college. For the college.
We'll
I'll give it a college try.
You'll be fine.
You never lose college picks.
It's all right. I'm not
They're
writing
easy.
them down anyway, so it doesn't matter.
So a couple bonus touts on today's picks. Oh, by the way,
by the by,
on one of your shows, Evan, the Saturday morning show at 7 with Kendra Militant and Dan.
My boy Dan.
Yeah,
Lipchat.
they got into it. They got it like right off the bat.
He's so disrespectful.
They
to
got
her.
into this big argument
They're
for like
good friends.
20 minutes.
About what?
About making fun of when the other person has a bad week or a bad pick, not taking victory laps, and he said, okay, the gloves are off. She thought it was done, but then he went on Twitter and made fun of her.
Oh.
And so they went back and forth.
Wow.
It was they don't I don't think they like each other.
So I'm pretty sure that they're friends, but now maybe they've had a...
Well, they said they love each other,
maybe a
but I
falling
think it
out.
was a kind of like professional colleague love. You know what I mean?
I would hope so.
Well, yeah.
No, but I mean not as friends. Not as friends, you know.
I don't catch that show all the time because it's a
No,
little,
that's one of your shows.
Saturday morning. It's
Saturday
7
morning.
a.m.
Well, I'm
it's a
driving
little-
to tennis on Saturday.
It's
Are
a
you
little
still playing
early.
tennis?
Of course I am.
Mid-Cape?
Yeah, mid-Cape.
Pete Sampras
Alright.
over here. What do you mean?
Yeah.
He's Freddie. I've seen
I like it when
Freddie-
he brings
I've
the
seen Fred
racket.
play tennis. He can play tennis.
I like it when he brings the racket on the road.
Oh,
And,
yeah?
I did that once.
Yeah, no, didn't you bring it to Arizona?
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
Last year.
Yeah. And didn't you like?
Well,
isn't
by
there
last
like,
year, you mean like a month ago?
Yeah.
When we went to
No,
Arizona.
Arizona, but Vegas I brought it too.
Okay, but isn't there like an app where you can like?
No, but I call. There probably is an app
Oh,
that you
okay,
can do
this
that.
is
I
what
didn't use that. I just find a local club and see if I can book some time with the pro.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
There you go.
You're such a hardo.
What are you talking
I'm
about?
on the road. I have to call wherever I am and book some time with the pro.
So
Well, how else am I going to play?
At home, you can book time with the pro
I
here.
do that as well.
Yeah, but I'm going to be gone for a day and a half. I need to.
Well,
book
if
some
I
time.
can't play on Saturday, I don't want to miss my Saturday
Well,
tennis.
if you went and you brought your golf clubs, Paul, and you were going golfing at one of these,
I would
these
love to do that,
locales.
but never did it once because I'm not a hardo.
So do you bring your own racket?
Yeah.
So do you check the racket? Like, do they let you put it under the plane?
Oh, you gotta be careful.
Yeah, you saw me. I had the bag.
Yeah, and they let
It was a separate bag.
Yeah, see, that's the class system. You know, Fred gets to bring stuff and put it under the plane.
Pretty sure they wouldn't let me bring
So
my
do
clubs,
you.
Mike.
So I could bring a tennis racket on the plane
You don't
Why
play
not?
tennis.
because I just
You don't want
I
to be
feel
made
like-
fun of.
Yeah, I just
Well,
feel
you
like
could do
that-
it.
More
that-
pickleball for you.
I feel like that. Well, pickleball could fit in my bag. That'd be
You could
fine.
do it. I was trying to get Lucas Smith.
Does he play tennis?
Yes,
he's a
he
good.
does.
He's a good
He
golfer.
actually played in high school.
Oh, that's right. I
Yeah,
knew that.
yeah.
I knew that.
I could definitely see Lucas being a good golfer. That checks out.
He's a pretty good golfer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hits it a ton.
I could see
Lucas.
Yeah.
Let's
Lucas,
see that.
big hitter, the llama.
Big hitter.
Big hitter.
Call him the llama.
So we went to Topgolf 2 nights ago. I went to Topgolf.
I love Topgolf.
And it was the international team, the people that we have working on the international thing. We have some big hitters. Joe Durant can crush it.
Yeah.
Kawhi, our Brazilian, he can crush it.
Yeah.
And then we had Marcus Kuhn, who used to play.
Wow. I mean,
It's the villain.
He was hitting it like it was
The Bond
nighttime. You
villain,
couldn't
just-
tell, but I swear to God, it was going over the net onto the road next to Topgolf.
They get mad when you do that. You're
Oh,
not.
yeah?
You're not. Yeah, they
Yeah.
kick people out for doing that.
What, hit him
Well,
up
he
to
wasn't
the-
doing it
to-
on
To the
purpose.
side, you mean?
Yeah.
Like over the net. Yeah.
If you, because
You could cause an accident.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I went with Mike, and my goal the whole time, I was trying to hit it over the back net.
Is that
I
why
didn't.
won?
I hit a couple off the net, but I couldn't get one over.
But this guy, I mean, it was like Herman Munster. It was like, it was
Happy
unbelievable.
Gilmore.
I also imagine Kuhn had like 25 beers in him at
Yeah.
that point. Because that guy, when we were in Germany, man, he was
Yeah.
just going
And,
for
and
it.
Yannick, he could hit.
Yeah.
Everybody there
Well,
could
Yannick's
hit.
European, so that checks out.
Okay.
Ah,
Yeah,
all right.
yeah.
It's a golf thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Sounds like a fun night.
yeah, it was good.
We weren't invited.
We get,
Yeah.
you'll get nothing unlike it, Spalding.
Let's see. Well, let's go to the phones. Kendall's in North Carolina trying again. What's up, Kendall?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good.
Hey.
What's going on over there?
For Evan. Yeah, my question for Evan. Evan, do you think, if Josh McDaniels is the hire, do you think he could get the most out of Pop Douglas in the slot?
Josh McDaniels. I like the idea of that because he knows how to get production out of that position.
I like the idea of getting another slot receiver if you want
I
to do that.
kind of agree. I kind of agree.
Get someone that's
Yeah.
better than
Thanks.
him.
Appreciate y'all.
Okay,
know?
thanks.
Emeka Ibuka from Ohio State. There you go.
Okay.
I had no doubt that Evan would have the option.
Emeka Ibuka. Yeah.
JSN 2.0.
Yeah, you want to get JSN?
Yeah.
2.0.
No, I'm just saying, let's accentuate the slot. Like if we have Demario Douglas, he's a complementary piece. I don't need to accentuate him.
Yeah.
I'll give the Chargers Poke, Pop, and Bourne
And your first
for Lad McConkey.
Yeah.
You don't want to ask for Herbert too?
Good trade. Good trade.
Nelson's in L.A. What's up, Nelson?
Hey, what's up, guys? I just want to say y'all doing a wonderful job today. Happy New Year's. I always listen to y'all, even though y'all hang up after I curse. I don't care about it, but
Twice.
my temper gets to me. My bad.
Okay.
Hope you're good out there, Nelson, with the Fires, man.
Yes.
Right, yeah. I'm away from all that right now. I'm in Bakersfield, but yeah.
Oh, forget it then.
Exactly. I know where
Have a
that is.
wonderful day, guys.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Nelson.
That's
Did
it.
you just call to apologize?
Oh, all right, he's back in the
There's no
studio.
need to
that's
apologize.
nice.
We still love
He
you.
was,
That's
he's
nice.
fired up.
Yeah, and everybody gets passionate and emotional
Especially after
games.
the game when you've
Especially
had
after that
when you're
game.
hydrated.
That's a good point too, Freddie.
That's one way to put it.
Yep. What else have we got here? Let's see. Johan from Germany. What do you think about Cliff Kingsbury? He was a hot candidate and probably still is. What do you think? Why is he not being talked about more?
Yeah.
So I love
being
Cliff
talked
Kingsbury. He gave a press conference last week or the week before that where he expressed maybe some patience and wanting to kind of wait it out a little bit longer for him to take another plunge at it. And obviously he's in a great situation with Jaden Daniels in Washington. So he's getting requests though. I think two teams have already.
Chicago has requested him, right?
Which makes a ton of sense because he coached Caleb Williams at USC. He's interested. He's in the cycle. There's no doubt about it. But it might be next year for him.
But that's your thing though. Like if you were Washington right now, wouldn't you be thinking like, we got this guy maybe one more year, maybe two if we're lucky? Like you really got to start to plan that out and know that you're going to need a succession plan.
Absolutely.
It's a perfect example because Dan Quinn is a lot like Mike Vrabel. Defensive coach, rah guy, and then he could circle through OCs. That could be an issue for him.
One more question, then we're going to get to our pick segment. Ben in California, and this is a good one. I don't dismiss this question, Paul. I want you to think about it. Other than staffing, what's one question you would ask Mike Vrabel in his interview? What's the one question, not who you're going to bring with you, that's staffing, but what's the one question other than that?
What's your plan for Drake?
I would ask about discipline.
Discipline.
Like his thoughts on, how do you feel like you can treat the modern player?
Yeah, that's
Okay,
good.
that's a good one.
Thank you.
That's a good one.
It's like I'm for it. I'm for discipline.
I think
Discipline
Mike and I are kind of on the same wave. I would ask about offensive philosophy.
Yeah, like to me, I look at that as staffing. A little bit.
Like how do
Yeah,
you
that's true.
want to win football games? And did you win the way in Tennessee the way you won because you had prime Derrick Henry and a good defense and that was your personnel?
Great question.
And it fit, or are you willing to win on the arm of the quarterback and do it that way?
Yep. What's yours, Fred?
I like yours, Paul. I think I might ask. I'm playing the role of Robert Kraft here. I'm not asking this as Fred Kirsch. I'm asking this as Robert Kraft. If you were me, what would you be focused on for this team? In other words, put yourself in my role. What would you be focused on for the New England Patriots? And see what he says.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the most attractive part of Mike Vrabel to me is like he could come in here, like do an audit of their entire football program and give a list of like we need to do this, and this.
Good stuff.
And then that
Yeah.
could like fix the whole thing, right?
And there's no sacred cows with him. Like
Right.
he would go right across the board and tell you what he thinks.
Yep. All right. So do we have Alex? Oh, where is she?
Enter something?
Hey, so how are we going to do this?
I'm gonna post up right here on this ottoman, I guess.
Welcome to your TED Talk.
Right.
Look at this.
That works.
Zoom out.
Zoom out a little.
Well, Marine forgot we were doing picks. He thought picks were over. He forgot that we do our.
Absolutely had a brain fart.
It's a failure of the Marines.
Are you going to give like a
okay.
presentation or something? It looks like you're about to like.
I didn't
talk.
prepare
I always
one.
got a TED
I
Talk
didn't
going.
prepare one, but
Can you
you
teach
know.
us about like gut health or something?
Oh, that's
you know,
yeah.
like-
That's
I can. We
that's
don't have
in the-
enough time for that. We gotta hurry.
Gut health.
Maybe next time.
Yeah.
I'm like Britney Spears with this little
All those things they sell on
All
TV,
eyes
the
on me,
powders
the
that you
smell of the
eat.
rain.
trash.
It's like green
Garbage.
stuff. It's not good.
No.
Told you.
Why not?
Gut health.
I'm
Garbage.
not going to call out any specific brands, but they're
Go
just
ahead.
scams. Like Athletic Greens, that's a scam.
Is it?
Yeah, and a lot of heavy metals.
It sounds so good. Like, oh, it does
Yeah.
it helps your eyesight and your hair and your toenails and your
But you
gut.
can also
and, you know.
just eat carrots and good probiotic foods and just a healthy diet does the same
Yeah, but
thing.
that requires work.
Yeah, but
This
if you're
is one
not
thing and you
eating a
drink it.
proper diet and then you think Athletic Greens is going to save you and
Well, that's what
weigh
you
it
do
out,
think.
no.
That's the way they sell it.
Yeah.
You know? No?
I don't subscribe.
Doesn't work?
No, my favorite Alex food take now though is that she tells me that I'm allowed to eat red meat and
You
not
are.
feel guilty about it. That really makes me feel good.
Well-sourced
Sure.
steak and like grass-fed finished beef. It's one of the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet. I will die on that hill forever.
Thank goodness.
She's gonna eat a
want
burger.
to really
She's
get
not-
into
burgers.
I don't know if you know, but I've had a burger or steak or two in my day.
Yeah.
That's
all
why
those
you're gonna
studies
live forever,
about
Paul.
like red meat being the villain. It's all studies done on people who are eating like pizza
Right.
and sausage and
Everything in
pepperoni,
moderation.
You know, like
Oh.
a person that's eating grass-fed
When Fred and I were
finished steak
growing up,
with broccoli and
red
rice.
meat was the thing.
Every
That's
night.
that was healthy.
Every
I
night.
gave up meat for probably like 5 months with my mom. My mom just went vegan for a summer. It was her midlife crisis. I'm sorry if she's listening. I joined her because I was home from college. My hair was falling out. My skin sucked. I've never had worse health. Reintroduced red meat and just like healthy vegetables.
right?
Yes. I'll send you guys.
Well,
some
that's
studies.
true.
I've
You
heard
see
similar
these
stories
vegans,
to that
You
before.
see these vegans and they got runny noses. They're thin. They're emaciated.
pale.
And then you see the guys walking out of McDonald's. They're strong and healthy.
Yeah.
McDonald's might not be the best example, but yes, I get your point.
I'll send you guys
Jersey
some
Mike's.
literature if you're interested.
Yeah.
Just send me a tweet.
Robust.
How about like Davio's?
There you
Okay.
go.
Yeah.
All right, so
But wait. Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, we need the-
No, what
Oh, that's
happened
right.
last week?
No, you want to?
Well, we got to do the music.
You want to
right?
strike up the band?
Yeah. Okay.
More of a coronation, I think, than
Oh.
anything else.
Yeah.
Final results. Just so week 18, always a tricky week, but not for Alex.
Oh.
12-4.
Okay.
Followed by Mike and Fred at 11-5. Paul at 9-7, and Evan at 8-8. So I had my opportunity.
I know I did.
Yeah.
I had my
So if
opportunity. Did not take
we had
advantage
that
of it.
18th game, we might have been able to catch up.
So the final standings, and this is the overall final standings. It is Evan 191-81. Whew. Alex, I'm sorry, so close. 190-82.
Wow.
One game. Beat Evan by 4 games in Week 18, but needed to beat by 5.
Wow.
Then I was 184 and 88. And then a tie for the poop emoji with Mike and Fred, 183 and 89. So
Okay.
poop for all.
Yeah.
With the spread, Mike, 9-6-1.
Wow.
Look at you.
Followed by Evan and Fred, 8-7-1. Paul, 7-8-1. That's just poor to me. And Alex, 6-9-1.
So she
Nice.
went it.
Nice.
I don't understand how that happens.
I don't either, but it's fine.
Yes, 12-4 to 6-9-1.
Yeah.
Evan
being
also
ambitious
wins
in the
with the
baby last.
spread, 156,
Sniff.
110,
Oh, a
and
sniff.
6, which qualifies as a choke by me because, again, he went 8-7-1. He gave me the opening to pass him, and
Not
I
him
choked.
flexing.
154, 112, and 6. I was 2 games back of Evan.
Shador elbow.
Fred gets the bronze at 150, 116, and 6. Mike, 149, 117, and 6. And Alex with the poop emoji, 141, 125, and 6.
I think that against the spread, this is the best year for collectively. Don't you think, Paul?
That's
all made money.
Because there's
That's-
always
that's pretty
somebody
good.
that's below 500. Not this year.
35. It's
Not
like
even
16
close.
games over 500 was the worst.
Right. Not even close to 500 this year. So this is a pretty
46
amazing,
games over
good
500.
effort by everyone. For
What
against
do we
the
call
spread.
this for Evan? Like the double
Oh,
crown?
right,
double-
right,
the
right.
double
Double crown.
win.
I did it for
Double
the-
crown.
I did it for
Yeah.
the ball knowers and the nerds.
You did.
Everywhere.
You
Stop,
made a
you have a
statement for the ball
statement.
knowers.
They
He
are
has
so
a statement
proud
for
of
the
you right
newsletter.
now.
I I'm proud of myself for it.
It's
Not
like,
gonna
it's
lie.
like when the nerd gets to
Date
date
the
the
cheerleader?
The cheerleader. It's like, oh, if he can do it, I might be able to do it too. Yeah,
Yeah.
Alex, right now, Alex is thinking, this could happen for me.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, if it happened for Evan, it can happen for
Right.
me.
Alex, this
Not,
No,
no,
we're
not
talking
this
about
Alex.
Barth. I know
Barth.
we are.
yeah.
Yeah.
Barth.
I think he thinks that anyways.
Yeah.
Based off our situations, I'm not gonna lie.
So I would be remiss if I didn't include the folks.
Oh.
This is your lock of the week update. Took the L this week. Fred had Atlanta as his lock of the week, -8. Lost outright.
Ooh.
Lost. Let me
Now,
repeat
you
that.
know Atlanta.
Had Atlanta -8, lost outright to Carolina. So for the season, this is obviously something I picked up late in the year. 3-6 on your lock of the week.
I can't be perfect.
No, you certainly can't be. All right, so
I'll
that's
do
it.
better.
That's
I'll
it.
do better.
Be better.
Okay, now we
So
start.
now we start fresh with
playoff
the wild
season.
card round.
So, can somebody
my-
on their
my
phone give
differentiation
me
here.
the
Yeah.
college games spreads?
Yes.
Tonight is Penn State and
Notre Dame.
You're
Yep.
really making me write
These
this
are all
crap
on
down.
ESPN.
ESPN. So it's Notre Dame by 1.
Notre Dame by 1.
1 point.
Interesting.
Yep.
And what's the other one?
The other one is Ohio State versus Texas, and it's Ohio State by 6.
That's tomorrow.
Correct. Both at 7:30 on ESPN.
Okay.
6 Ohio State?
Yep.
Okay.
So we'll do the Notre Dame and Penn State first. Penn State by 1.
Okay.
Deuce.
I'm
No,
gonna go
it's Notre
first.
Dame by 1.
Notre Dame
Yes,
by 1.
Notre Dame
Notre
by
Dame
1.
by
Oh,
one.
I thought
Correct.
you said Penn State by 1.
No, Notre Dame by
Notre
1.
Dame by 1.
This
Yes.
will- this
That
will be-
changes everything.
Coming
Yes.
off a big win
So that
over
changes
Georgia.
everything.
I'm glad I finally have a chance to drop some college football knowledge on y'all.
Drop it, Deuce.
I'm going to go with
Drop a deuce.
Penn State. You said maybe missing Abdul Carter. I think it's a big blow for them. So I'm going to go
Where's the game being
I'm gonna go
played?
Notre Dame.
It's the Orange Bowl.
Orange.
This is
Oh,
the
yeah,
Orange
definitely
Bowl. The
Notre
other
Dame.
is the Cotton Bowl.
I'm going to go Notre
So
Dame.
Texas more or less the home team in the other one.
Yeah, I'll
At
go
AT&T.
Notre Dame, please.
Notre Dame.
I used to be in the camp with Evan that it's hard to pick Notre Dame in these big games, but him and Tamara had a pretty heated debate, and Evan
Lost?
Evan lost.
Last week I lost. I undersold the fact that Georgia's was playing their backup quarterback. That really killed them.
You know what really killed Georgia in that game, and it's been their problem all year. Their receivers can't catch.
Yeah,
They can't catch.
Yeah, they drop. They lead the nation in drops. Don't
yeah.
they?
I mean, they obviously lost
Yeah.
McConkey and Brock Bowers to the NFL, so they're kind of in a transition period there.
So
I'll
Notre
take
Dame.
Notre Dame.
I'm sticking with my gut. I've watched my entire life Notre Dame choke in big football games exactly like this one. Drew Ayler, the Penn State quarterback, is the apple of a lot of people's eye right now. Might come out, so I'm going to take Penn State in this game.
So to Evan's point, this is a game with two programs that traditionally choke and puke all over themselves in big games. I'm just going to take Penn State because my son's friend goes there.
Yeah, I'm taking Penn State too. All right.
I'm rooting for Liam to get a national championship
Some
ring.
people don't forget about the Manti Te'o era. Okay.
So now we move to Friday night on ESPN, 7:30. Did you say?
Yep.
I think both games are at 7:30.
7:30. The
Which
kickoff
gives-
probably won't be till like 8:30.
Oh,
but,
really?
You know,
I
you know
thought
how
they were
do
kicking
it.
off at
Oh,
7:30.
they kill you.
Is that not right?
I don't know.
Because I was actually holding out hope that I could actually watch these games and not be unconscious by the time the
No,
fourth
they
quarter rolled
probably
around.
have all the pregame.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've had some insomnia lately, so maybe I will be up.
Yeah, it's a bait and
So
switch.
Ohio State by 6.
Yeah. So Ohio State just beat Oregon, the number 1 team in
Yeah.
the country, and smacked them.
Yeah.
Real good.
I actually watched a little of that one. Yeah, I'll stick with Ohio State then. I'm going to stick with Ohio State this week.
Same.
I too am going to go with Ohio State, the Buckeyes. I think they have the most roster talent in the entire playoff, and I think they're rolling now.
Based on what little knowledge I have, that team has played the best in the playoffs. Both games, they were dominant. I think they continue. Ohio State.
Folks, this is your lock of the week. Ohio State covers in this game.
Okay, so I need to put a little asterisk there.
All
Got it.
the lower seeds, by the way, advanced in this playoff.
Yeah, it's 5,
format.
6, 7, 8 right now, and if it's Ohio State's 8,
Yes.
so that would be the lower seed. Is Penn State the lower seed, or is Notre Dame? I don't know.
No, I think that's. I think Penn State is 6, if I'm not mistaken. Texas
Okay.
is 5.
So Notre Dame is 7.
Yeah, I think it's 6, 7.
All right. All right, now
they
we
played in the
too much
7-10
college
game.
football now.
Okay,
Too
enough.
much.
Enough with the college.
We got to hurry. Got 14 minutes for 6 games.
No more minor league.
Oh, in
football,
case
okay?
anybody's wondering, the over/unders on the pregame show presented by Duncan.
Yeah.
Paul 65 and 37. Matt 57 and 45. Mike 56 and 46.
I lost by one.
The 6-pack. Paul 52, 48 and 2. And Matt and Mike tied at 51, 49 and 2.
Okay, so
Yeah,
people.
those numbers check out with mine too, Paul.
Oh,
so that's
good.
correct.
Oh, I'm stunned. Do you have the right
Fact
numbers?
check.
Thanks.
All right, let's move to the NFL. Saturday, 4:30 on CBS, Paramount Plus, and Nickelodeon. It's the
What
11
channel
and
is the game on?
Huh?
What channel is the game on?
CBS.
CBS. Okay.
Oh, I like that we have the slime zone.
Yeah.
Okay.
You ever watch that? I don't.
Yeah, I watched it.
Yeah. I flipped it on just to see what it looked like. It's pretty
Nickelodeon?
cool how they do
I
it.
think they're cute
Sorry.
when they do the
It
little
It's like
novelty kid
Right.
shows.
It's also like Smithers
It's not
is running
football
down the
watching.
field.
Yeah, the Toy Story one was sweet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you say the game?
Yes, it's the Chargers, 11 and 6 Chargers at the 10 and 7 Texans.
Okay, the Chargers, road favorite, the Lack by 3.
I like that. I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to take the Chargers. I don't think without Tank Dell, it seemed like they kind of collapsed a little bit. And I just, again, bias of seeing a team here live take it to the Patriots. So are the Chargers really that good? I don't know.
Which one?
But
They both did that.
Oh, fair enough. But more recently,
memory.
we saw the Chargers. So I'm going to take Justin Herbert on the road, and I think that'd be a nice win for them. Go on the road and pick that up. So I'm going to go with them. I'll lay the points.
Chargers.
Yeah, I'm on the Chargers too. That Texans team just hasn't really been right all year long. CJ Stroud's had a rough year, relatively speaking, and I just think the Chargers are playing better and are a better team right now. Chargers.
Yeah, I worry when it's like that, and it's like, the road team's favorite. Everybody's on the road team, what happens, but I'm going to take the Lack.
Yeah, me too, Lack. 8 o'clock Saturday night on Prime Video.
So that's the one I can't watch. All right.
10 and 7 Steelers at the 12 and 5 Ravens. We got an early report that Zay Flowers might be out.
So he is out.
he is
Yeah,
out.
John Harbaugh confirming today after practice, no Zay Flowers.
The Ravens by 9.5.
Wow.
That's a big spread.
Big spread.
No respect for the Steelers. No respect.
I mean, the injury to Zay Flowers is huge. Another thing I didn't really like, I heard Lamar talking a little bit about how he just needs to learn how to calm down in playoff games, and
he gets antsy.
Yeah, I didn't love hearing that from him. Like, I didn't realize, it's not a big deal, dude. You're really good. Just play. But I just don't think the Steelers have enough. I'm going to take the Ravens to win, but I'll take the points. I just think these two teams know each other well, and it's always tough.
I feel the same way. Yeah, I'm splitting it.
Yeah,
Ravens win.
I'm with Deuce. I actually remember Brady saying that about Super Bowls. And, the Patriots always notoriously started terribly in Super Bowls. He said he was so amped up coming out that it would, almost be a deterrent. But I'm going to take the Ravens. I think they end up pulling away in this game, but I'm going to take Pittsburgh to cover in a divisional three times, right? Three times.
They just beat them. Like Ravens just got that monkey off their back, and now they got to do it again.
I think they're going to blow them out. I'm going to take the Ravens both ways. I just think Pittsburgh's trending in the wrong direction. I think they've sort of figured out the whole Russell Wilson just throw it up and hope thing.
All valid points.
Pickens did have a big drop in that Cincinnati game that I wouldn't necessarily expect, but I think that's their only means to make any plays is throwing bombs to George Pickens. I'll take Baltimore.
Yeah. In tout world or sharp world, Ravens getting 8. They call these playoff points, just so you know.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so,
getting the glossary out.
Yeah, Ravens cover in this game.
It's gonna be a good feature when you get that finally together. The Fred Kirsch book of gambling parlays.
Is that what you're doing? You're putting that in the notes?
Yeah, my glossary. I have a whole
the
folder
gambling
for
hat
Fred.
on, like arms crossed.
Playoff points.
Playoff points. Noun.
Gambling parlance.
Noun.
All right, that's the Saturday lineup. Now we move to Sunday, 1 o'clock, CBS, and again Paramount Plus. The 10-7 Broncos at the 13-4 Bills.
Buffalo by 8.5. Now, don't forget, some of those are playoff points.
That's correct.
No, that's something. I
Good,
appreciate.
Paul.
Yeah, I
Good,
appreciate you
Paul.
pointing that out. I forgot about that. I got to pick the Bills to win, and I just, I feel like the Broncos are playing a little bit with house money right now. Like they had a good season. They got a rookie quarterback. They didn't, really expect to be in this position. I think they might try to cut it loose, but as I'm talking here, I'm going to lay the points. I just think I've seen Buffalo blow out a team in this round up there before, and I think they do it.
Oh,
again.
really? Have you?
Yeah, I did.
What team was that?
The Patriots.
Yeah, I'm going Buffalo.
Doesn't this game kind of feels like that game? Now the Broncos probably won't have half their secondary out because of COVID, but it feels a little bit like that game. Rookie quarterback, 10-7, go on a wild card run. Bills, they don't punt. ×2.
I will take Buffalo to win the game, and I think they'll win it fairly easily, but I'm going to take the points. I think Denver might have some offense early in the game, and I think the Broncos' defense is pretty good. I think Surtain is legit.
Do we have a
on the
weather
back
report
end.
for this game?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good
No one
question.
knows.
It's
We
gotta
probably
be
should- we probably
freezing.
No
should
one
ask-
knows.
It's so cold here.
No
I
one
can
in the
only
world
imagine
knows.
there.
Probably should have asked that question, but I'm going to take Buffalo to win. I'll take the 8.5.
No one knows.
No,
If only there were people
way to
that's
find out.
job it was to tell us the weather. It says that right now it just says 29 degrees and cloudy, so no lake
Normal.
effect, right?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Bills, but I'm with Paul. I think the Broncos cover. Stevie Nicks does enough in the first half, and
well, there you go.
The
again,
Bills.
you say.
Yep.
You
They
want
get it
me,
together.
you don't. It's my Stevie Nicks. Thank
Are
you.
you
Well,
Stevie
who
Nicks
am
or a
I?
Fleetwood person? Like
Fleetwood.
Oh, Fleetwood.
But I mean,
Yeah.
leather and lace. I mean, forget
Stevie
about
Nicks.
it. Little leather. And lace.
Stevie Nicks
other,
was Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
The One Winged Dove song.
Oh, she's
Just
like a
Wow.
one-winged dove.
No.
Age of 17.
No.
Yes.
that's the lyrics.
Thank
I
you.
didn't know.
All right, on Sunday,
of
4:30
17.
on Fox and Fox Deportes, the 11-6 Packers are at the 14-3 Eagles.
Philly by 4.5.
Hurts.
Looks good.
Looks good.
Both quarterbacks at well below 100%. though.
Yeah. In that case, I gotta go with Philly at home. I like what the Packers did this year. Still think they're maybe a year or two off, but I'll go with Philly at home. I'll lay the points.
Philly.
This is my favorite game, I think, of the entire wild card round. This would be a good one. I'm going to take the Eagles. I don't know why I trust the Packers so much, but I do trust the Packers. So I'm going to say that they covered Eagles by a field goal.
Yeah, I think Philly will win the game because Green Bay's playing a good team, and generally they lose. But I don't trust Philly. So I'm going to take the points. I don't trust them to play as well as they normally have. I think they'll be close enough. I'm with Evan.
There always has, well, there doesn't have to be an upset, but often there is, and I think this is one. Nice. I think the Packers go on the road and they beat the Eagles to the dismay of the Philly fans, and it's going to be the upset of the weekend.
Can I put that down as the lock?
No,
No.
not a lock. I'm
Not
not
a
lock. Listen, no. In all seriousness, I need to be responsible with my locks.
Yeah.
If I'm not, I don't.
I
You
mean,
know, I
you
don't want to
don't
leave.
Take it serious,
You
Paul.
don't go 3-6 by just
Yeah.
willy-nilly throwing locks out there.
Well, we have
See
to
how I
keep
throw
track.
that
We have to
softball
have
for him?
two
See
columns.
how I
One
do
just
that?
normal
You
upsets.
see how I make sure that I hit it every time?
You need two columns. One his regular upsets that aren't locks, and then his locks, and you need to see which performs
Right.
better.
I know that a lot of people take my words and bet the college tuition on it. So I need to be responsible about it. So I'm not locking this one, but I'm calling for the upset.
That is good of you.
You see, don't you think?
Yes.
It's big of you.
Responsible.
Yeah.
Good word.
8 o'clock on Sunday night, NBC Peacock, Universo Telexitos. They already put Peacock in there for the first time. 12-5 Commanders at the 10-7 Baker-led Buccaneers.
Fire the cannons.
Fire the cannons.
Bucks by 3.
I'm surprised.
It's a tough game. This is a tough game.
You surprised the Bucks are favored?
I am.
Yeah.
Okay.
That game against the Saints last week, they needed that game, and
They're
didn't.
just so up
Yeah.
and down. Like they score like 45 points one week, and then the next
They have
they
a
can't beat the
lot of
Saints.
injuries
Yeah.
on defense,
Yeah.
especially in the secondary.
That's why I'm going to go with Washington. Just think too many injuries, and they're just unreliable. I don't think it's impossible, but I'll take Washington.
Yeah, Washington road upset.
I'm taking Washington as well. I just think the Buccaneers are really streaky. I think they're inconsistent, and I think the Commanders are feeling the mojo there with Jaden Daniels. They got something brewing there in Washington.
I was all on Washington, and now everybody else is too. So, taking Washington.
So
to win
would
the
you
game.
say that the Rookie of the Year is down between Jaden Daniels and Brock Bowers?
I think it's over.
Yeah, I don't really think it's between
It's Daniels?
anybody.
Daniels, yeah.
Well, Brock Bowers had a pretty good year.
Great year.
He'll finish second.
Great
Best
year
tight
for a
end in
team that
football.
won 4 games and
Yeah.
whatever.
Well,
Lot
doesn't
of-
that even
lot of
make him
plastic
even
stat-
better that he
No,
was able to
makes
have
it,
that
makes
year?
it plastic stats.
Plastic. Why are they
Correct.
plastic?
He's a good player, but come on.
So he didn't have to catch those balls? Yeah, that's not real.
Where's my one again? No, I mean, Jaden Daniels won 12 games as a rookie quarterback. You don't think that's much more impressive than catching 110 balls for
It's
a 4-win
very
team?
impressive. That's why it's
Someone's got to catch the ball.
Okay. All
Good
right.
stats, bad team.
Right.
Okay.
It's a basketball thing.
Anyway, this is a tough one. I
Jordan
really
Pierce circa, like-
want to pick the Buccaneers, but I just don't. I don't trust them. I got to go with the Commanders.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's one we all lost. There's no way we're all going to be right with an upset.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, we are. What kind of spirit is that?
Monday night. Should they have a Monday night game during playoffs?
I don't think so, but this
Yeah.
is the league that we're in now.
I
Yeah,
love
but
it.
what is there to do on Monday?
Yeah,
No,
I
it's
was
not
so-
about us. It's about the team that has to play on Monday and then have the short week compared to all
yeah,
the other
not my
teams.
I see that on your
Well, they'll play on Sunday the next week, though, right?
Yeah, I know.
It's
but
about me. It's my viewing
I
experience.
guess the
Not
Sunday
Saturday.
night guys have to play on Saturday. Yeah, I don't know.
It's
Anyway,
a short week for somebody.
Monday night, 8 o'clock, ESPN, ABC, ESPN2, ESPN Plus, ESPN Deportes. The 14-3
ESPN
Vikings
88
are at the 10-7 Rams.
Minnesota by 1.5.
Yeah, I was watching NFL Network had the game they played this year on. It was tightly contested. It's hard. Is Sam Darnold that guy? Is he the one who played great of the whole season, or is he the guy that had a down week last week? Everyone was excited about him. I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna go with the Rams at home. I just think Sam Darnold is Sam Darnold, and he's not going to be able to get it done.
Along the similar lines, I'm going to pick the Rams too. I know like a lot of LA people aren't huge Rams fans, but there's something about the fires and just people.
Might be in Arizona,
like
too.
natural disasters tend to rally sports teams, so I'm
The
sticking
question is, though, are there any Rams fans that live in LA that are actually affected by the
I
fire?
wonder if it could help them if they ended up playing in Arizona.
Yeah, neutral site. Well, I'm gonna go with Minnesota. I just feel like I don't know. I feel like they've been disrespected all year long. People didn't think that they.
Yeah, and then they got to that big game and they.
I hear you.
You know.
I hear you. I picked them last week too, and I was wrong. But I don't know. Something tells me that Minnesota gets this one win done. I don't know if they're gonna go much further than this, but I feel like they're gonna really play hard to not look like a joke.
Yeah, I think Evan's right about the disrespect that Minnesota has gotten all year. I guess I'm going to pile on. I'm going to take the LAR. You guys know I like Matthew Stafford. This is a little bit of a heart pick for me. I like the Rams, and I think that they'll get it done at home.
Yeah, another tough one.
Tough, yeah, good one.
I mean, really, what was Sam Darnold last week? Is that who he is in the big games, and that's why he's never going to be an elite quarterback? Tough one. Flores' defense started out okay, but the Lions ran all over it last week. So I don't know. I'm gonna
hurry.
I'm gonna stick with the Vikings. I'm gonna go with the Vikings in this
It's a good
game.
one.
Yeah,
it's good. We're all kind of split on it.
Yeah. So that's the games. We'll see what happens next week. That's the show.
Want to see what Pat and Peabody
Great
saying?
weekend
From my hometown. I don't know
Nope.
who that is.
That's the show.
Nope. Sorry, Pat. I tried.
You're claiming Peabody too?
Everyone have a good weekend. The college games tonight and tomorrow. Wild card weekend. We will see you next Tuesday.
Thank you for downloading this podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google Play, and everywhere else you listen. Like the show? Please rate and review us. Listener comments and ratings help keep us high in the podcast rankings so new listeners can find us. Be sure to check Patriots.com for more news and more podcasts.
The world's original podcast.